Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let me get things situated, get things organized. Let's see what. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Facebook is looking good. MLB All-Star tonight. Quite a bit to talk about with the Major League Baseball doing some big things. NFL season's on the horizon. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope you had a good Tuesday. It was eventful here on the Cape. Mid-July. Summertime, baby. Got to go out and get it. You got to get it while the getting is good. Isn't that what they say? Yes, indeed. Okay, we're going across. The X is good. Twitter, X is good. We want to say Twitter. Ned from Nebraska. On so much great content. World of streaming, YouTube. The brave new world we're going into with AI. The new frontier. Space. The last frontier. All right. So we're good on our socials. Let me get myself in order here. Step up my watch game. As I said, I hope you guys had a good Tuesday out there. For me, it was a good Tuesday. I gotta get back to my David Goggins, right? I gotta get back to my win the morning, win the day. Okay, attitude and perspective, but certainly launched, and it's been really good. Got a chance to sit down and watch, an indie classic. We're gonna give it classic, Carlito's Way. Shout out to Carlito's Way. It was a beautiful thing, and good community events that went on here in Barnstable. So it was a pretty good Tuesday, and I hope the same was true for everybody out there. Yeah, the NFL season is on the horizon, no doubt about that. But Major League Baseball has done some things we've talked about. I want to talk about it again. I want to talk about the ABS, the automated. Gotta get this right. ABS. We're gonna get the terminology, but then Commissioner Manfred spoke about these robot umpires, and he spoke clearly and emphatically, and I was very encouraged by that. League-wide, we got the Superstar Watch with Giannis and LeBron. Giannis and LeBron. Superstar Watch. Yes, indeed, Chris. All-Star game going down, and it is good. I got to get it. Before we go into the intro, thank you so much for noting it, Chris. I got to get myself set up here. Get this All-Star game on the screen. And then, okay, the volume is good. This might take me a second or three. Got to get the All-Star game, though. Okay. So I hope you'll bear with me, folks. Let me... Whoop. Yeah, there go ESPN. I got to get it on the streaming. Got to set up the ESPN Plus on the streaming so I can check out the All-Star game. This should have been done. This should have been done pre-production. So this is I don't like using airtime. Okay, we got to step it up here. But Chris did mention. Yeah, Chris, again, let me reach out to my bro. He did have some strong takes. He's Dad Almighty. He's in dad mode doing his thing. But let me just let him know, as well as everybody out there in television land, you want to come through? Let's go. MLB. Okay, seeing that. It's on Fox. Let me see if I can just. I'm thinking N.B.A. I'm thinking it's on Fox rather than ESPN. Exit out of that. Might have had this set up in the beginning. I got the Fox. Okay, we're gonna give this another minute, and then we'll keep it moving and grooving. But yeah, let me get bro. Reach out to him. Throw on the MLB here. Okay. ML. Yes. See what we got. Okay. So we'll get the updates from the All-Star game. Got it on. Talking baseball. Apologies in advance. I don't even know what the heck. Hey, that was the wrong one. All right, so. No. All right, folks. Welcome into SandCity Sports. To the business. I am your host. I apologize in advance for the delay. Thank you so much for tuning in to SandCity Sports. We're going to talk about current events, sports stories. Run it back. I got too many tabs open. I got a million tabs open. So we gotta lock it. Too much. All right. So yes, MLB, the All-Star game. Let's discuss. I got no problem with the All-Star game determining home field advantage in the World Series. Talk about the game having meaning. The N.B.A. is going through every single iteration, seemingly reinventing the wheel every year to try to spark the competition within the All-Star game. So it is a significant reward, if you will, having your league have home field advantage. But, those top teams with those players in the game, that's important, right? In terms of football, the Kansas City Chiefs had to grind through 17 games. What's going on, Emmett? Welcome. Emmett, I appreciate Shane from Des Moines. I appreciate you. Emmett, if you're interested, you can go ahead. It's the same link as in the chat before. If you want to jump in. And I saw your program, your show on yesterday. So respect. But I like that they have something invested. Okay. Right? There's skin in the game, so to speak, with the All-Star game. And it's determining home field advantage in the World Series, which can decide the series. Kansas City Chiefs, as I just said, okay, they go through that long journey to get the home field advantage, which is decisive in terms of determining who comes out of each conference and ultimately, who wins the Super Bowl. If some of these AFC divisional championship games are in B-Lo and their brand spanking new $2 billion stadium in the frozen north, I think we'd have different outcomes. All right, but Kansas City having the pursuit of perfection, frankly. Bill Belichick, you don't win 16 games in a row. You win one game 16 times. Okay? They have fought for, won, earned that home field advantage, and that has contributed to not just the 7 straight AFC Championship games, but the Super Bowl appearances ad infinitum. Okay? And so baseball, it's I don't know what else you would do. Or I do know what else you would do. Obviously, you can break bread. All right. And there's certainly plenty of that, just in terms of awarding, a half. I mean, a million, there's so many baseball players. So a million, right, might not be feasible. It's much more feasible in the NBA where you have 15 All-Stars, including guys that get injured. But baseball, I don't know if you want to shell out $30-40 million just because you worked hard for one game, as in like $1 million a player. Although it's within the realm of possibility. That's you look at how the N.B.A. Attaches all N.B.A. awards to being able to get the Supermax, which resonates. A couple years back, Klay Thompson was in line for that max extension, that Supermax, and he got edged out of all N.B.A. by Kemba Walker, and he wasn't happy about it. Klay's in the news right now. His social life certainly in the news, playing the fame game, which I don't mind. We talked about it. Is it quote unquote a distraction? I think with a guy like Klay Thompson, he is so locked in. You don't have to worry. Yeesh. Thank you. I might have to, let me try to, it's on Fox. See, because I'm on the streaming over here. No, I can't do it over here. I might have to just follow vis-a-vis ESPN. So that's no good. Player got hit in the hand. Hope he's all right. Right? Depends on, because obviously baseball, basketball, you need your hands. You break a bone or whatever, you're going to be out time. Baseball has done a nice job innovating, with the glove that players wear for sliding. Allows them to run faster, protects core assets. On that point, I missed today's Harbor Hawks game. I got to go ahead and check the score. Got to root for the home team. Harbor Hawks were playing against a crosstown rival, the YD Red Sox. So I was at another community event, a local business. Lambert's had a community cookout, which was out of this world. Fed the whole neighborhood, burgers, hot dogs, ice cream. And then they had a band play, the awesome 80s hits, some Allman Brothers, amongst other good tunes, some Soul Brother #1. And it was just wonderful. Supposed to be last Thursday, got rained out. So today's just a beautiful day in the neighborhood. So just really uplifting type stuff like that. I hope you guys are getting a chance to do some of those things during the summertime when the weather's good and we can get out and share community, rub elbows, find some common ground, right? Do we agree on everything? No. Do we vote for the same people? No. But you got so much more in common with the person that lives across the street from you than the people in power in Washington or New York or wherever the heck they are, right? Even though you might, right? Those are your people that you rock with, all right? But, by and large, you got more in common with the people that you voted for A, I voted for B. We shop in the same grocery stores. We attend the same sporting events, okay? Families attend the same schools. What are we doing? What are we doing here? But we get so into, I don't know about you. I don't know about you. Me. We get so into this macro thinking, we don't come back to the micro. So shout out to Lambert's Centerville Village Association. It was a really good event, but I wasn't able to make it over to the Hawks game. But I'll be there on Friday as they match up against the Falmouth Commodores. Looking forward to that match up. To Chris's point, where I was going with that, and a good point. We'll get to your point about Charles Bassey, is what I notice, because these Cape League games, once again, you want to talk about Fenway Park? Fenway Park being the largest Little League field in Major League Baseball. Going to Fenway Park, I was just stunned at just how, you're right there. Like, every seat in Fenway is a good seat. Last time I went was before they built the Green Monster, or the seats on the Green Monster. But yeah, just you're in there, packed in. Shout out to Bob Ryan and his book Scribe. Get it on Audible, read it. I read the paperback. Bob Ryan is a Massachusetts treasure. Call him the Hingham Hammer. I played men's league basketball for so many years in Hingham. I got to get back into my men's league. I got to get back. I got to move my body. All right. My man Chris in the chat, who brings a lot of flavor to this, to these programs. He's a men's league guy. I gotta, too much, right? I say I'm getting older, right? So I write things down on a list, and then you get older and you just don't get to the end of the list, right? Got to get a little bit more eye to tiger. I got to start playing Wu-Tang more. I got to, I'm getting older, so obviously I'm older, but in my mind, I'm not as old as I actually am. And then, you think back, my mind is and I guess it's just a part of getting older. You like mentally, like I'm still 23, even though it's been some decades. So certainly getting out and moving my body. Back to the original point of the National League leader in home runs being hit in the hand, which I'm going to get to. So Chris's men's league, that was our night. Thursdays was our league in Hingham. Speaking of the Hingham Hammer and Bob Ryan. So that was our night for so many years. And then we sometimes the game is on Wednesday, but mostly Thursdays. And then they had a Monday league in Mashpee that was, and you're busy. I was the captain, so you got to wonder who's showing up, who's not showing up. You're worrying about guys paying dues. You're worrying about the schedule. So that, anything that to get right, it's going to be hard, right? It's going to be challenging to have nothing free in this world. But anybody that plays men's league, whether it's basketball, softball, soccer, it's necessary. Keeps you young. The nostalgia, right? You can take a loss now because you're older. When you're young and you lose, the world's going to end. You bawl out crying. You scream and yell at people. It's the worst thing in human civilization. You get older, you can take those losses. Okay, we'll get them next time. So that adds, you just can roll with the punches a lot better. But not that, the youth, that's what I always see. Refereeing the kids, they cry, they scream, because you're into it. They got that fire, the fire of life. And so, it's got to be, you don't want to curse anybody out, young people. Don't curse nobody out. Scream at your family. I understand you're mad. It's good to be mad. Now you got to channel that energy into getting better. That's what you have to do, because you certainly do have the energy. I yawn just looking at some of these Thundercats sprinting back and forth. I'm winded just looking at them. Okay, but let's take a look at to the point that Chris brought up. It's an important point about you getting hit in the hands. What I noticed at the games is almost all the players, they got the elbow protection in base. Elbow in baseball. What do they call it? A sleeve, kinetic arm. And they all wear it when they're getting, what is the name of it? Evo Shield. Right? And I wonder, called the Evo Shield. It's almost like the, well, it's different. I was going to compare it. And the players, they get up there They go to bat. They got the Evo shield here. And then they got if they make it on base, you want to, because you can't go back to the dugout. So you got the protective gloves that they have here that they wear that you can see right here. And they're ready to go. Occasionally, I see sometimes players will get up there without the Evo shield. And I'm like, does that help your swing? Is it just, right? Because the percentages of getting hit are low. I mean, it's going to happen. You're going to get hit. The Cape League, they're not throwing. There's very much sportsmanship and decorum because they're trying to make the big league. So people are on their best behavior. You don't have any foolishness going on. That being said, it's a game. You see guys get hit. They it's amazing to me, frankly, because obviously it hurts. But they just take their stuff off and run to first base like nothing happened, which is wild to me. Part of the reason I stopped playing baseball, I wish I could switch hit because I was afraid of the ball, being a right-hand hitter. A lot of pitchers are right-handed. So I wish I could have grown out of that or learned how to, because you can't avoid, you're going to get hit. So obviously you want to protect, you can't get hit in the head, and they got your helmet and everything else. Shoulder, but you want to get hit where you got some tissue, some muscle, you don't want a bone, that's going to break, your muscle, you're going to get deep bone bruise, all that stuff. But you can go back out there. So to Chris's point, you get hit in the hand. That means a lot of times that's on your swing, so your swing, obviously your hand's on the bat. But those are dangerous because, you get hit in the hand and you're that's swelling. Something's going to be at least sprained, if not broken, and you're going to have to go down. Your Barry Bonds, he used to, his joint was, let's just get Barry Bonds looked like he had the Terminator Evo shield. I specifically remember that. Right? It's out there like Terminator with his joint. You can see it up here. Down here's another. Right, see? And I wouldn't be surprised that Barry Bonds started this, as he's a transcendent player in baseball. All-time home run leader. And I just want to talk a little bit about Barry Bonds. So first of all, my question for the baseball, I wonder, is it more, what am I trying to say? Superstition, right? You're on a little bit of a low, you're not hitting as well. So, just to kind of get your mojo back. Whereas, I don't feel like it should affect their swing and their natural swing and certainly their power and launch angles and all the rest of that stuff. So when I see players go up without the Evo shield, I'm thinking, I imagine it's to get their mojo back, to change something, rather than it being an impediment. Whereas at the same time, talking to football players, or listening to football players rather, Shannon Sharp talks about this, that he did not wear hip pads or in his pants. They got the hip, thigh pads or whatever. He was like, nah, I didn't wear none of that. Some other football players were like, yeah, me neither. I was like, man, but their point was, I need to be fast. And I can take, obviously Shannon Sharp's a physical specimen, but I can, you're not going to hit me in my knee, you're not going to do, dive at my knee, but those shots to my thighs, I'm strong enough that I can take those and just, we good. Not just rub some dirt on it and keep it moving. But that's something that I do remember, having those thigh pads and hip pads and all the rest of that stuff when I was playing football. It did slow me down a little bit. Not that I was the fastest guy anyway. Also, on this topic, before we keep it moving, shout out to my youth football coaches. I think about it now, man. I played the weight class was 140 when I was in 7th grade, and I had to play them. at that. I weigh about just over like 150 now. 150 and change today. And so, y'all know I'll talk a bit. I like to, I got, whether I have the gift for gab or not is debatable, but I do like to talk. Appreciate Shin joining on the IG. Much respect. I appreciate you. Okay. Shout out to Emmett, Shane from Des Moines, on the Twitter feed. Appreciate you. Mikasa, Sukasa, let me know. But it's one of these things I think back. My football coaches, when I did play football, particularly Masters, when I was back in New York, it was by your weight rather than your age. So but out here in Massachusetts, you're in 7th, 8th grade, so it's 140. That's the weight limit, and and I was like 9. I don't even know. I wasn't 100 pounds, and these guys were hitting. Those folks in 8th grade that have grown, but they're ginormous in 8th grade, like 5'10", 5'11", but they grew early. So I think back now, I said, I appreciate the coaches for protecting me from myself, because I was not. Yeah. There was, and this was before the whole CTE and everything else like that. This was certainly rubbed some dirt on it time. So they looked out for me. Talked to my good buddy PJ's in town from Texas. He was supposed to go back over the weekend, but he's still up here. Yes, Barry did look like RoboCop, looking like RoboCop right there, for sure. But he talks about it in Texas. There's just no weight limit. In some of the places, there's no weight limit. You're in 8th grade, you play with the other 8th graders. And it is not for the faint of heart. And by that age, just talking with him, he's like, just looking at, if I, as somebody from New England, looking at the team, I would be like, that's a high school varsity team. 5'11", 6'1", 6'2", 5'10", just and brolic. Like, from a distance, eye test, oh, that's a top-ranked varsity team. They take their helmets off, they're 13 and 14. He's like, it's unreal. Coming from New England, going down to Texas, and just seeing the scale of football. And clearly you talk about Texas, where they spend $50 million on a high school stadium. Not to build a school. They spending $50, $60, $70 million, not even thinking twice, on a high school stadium. Packing that place for the Friday Night Lights. So their high school teams are Division I college teams. And there's certainly plenty of high major Power 5 talent there, but that's, we'll play some kids at the Division I level, a lot of D3s, some D2s, but, some D1s. But you're talking about Texas, you're talking about Florida, Georgia, California. Their high school teams traveling all over the country are Division I grade. Mid-major to the Power 5. Good question, Chris. I don't have a sport that I am opposed to. I don't like certain things, is what I'll say. I don't like blindside hits in football. I despise them. Just in general, I think it's a cheap shot, A. And then B, now that what we know about the CTE, I'm glad they got that out of the game. I don't know if there's a game, golf, rugby, love rugby. I put a little fear in your heart when you watch rugby. Essentially football without pads. like early 20th century football. Um, Hurling, if you're talking about international sports, love soccer, played soccer early on. Even if you're talking about, ping pong, I enjoy sports as a hyperactive, now adult, for many years, kid. And then the sociology of sports, that fact that it does bring people together who otherwise would not spend time, is endlessly interesting to me, right? When we're able to share that community, and right, it's not now to NASCAR. What I will say, Chris, I don't watch a ton of NASCAR. Remember seeing Michael Jordan give a rare interview when he talked about kind of growing up, being a younger child, family was every man for themselves. Father James, fun for yourself. That's how you learn. And you talk, Shannon Sharp, talks about this kind of growing up in rural Georgia. No heat, no electricity, no running water. Right? Um, and my point with that is, Michael Jordan talks about when they would have family time, like they would go to NASCAR. And they go to the races. They go to see car racing. So I do think NASCAR is regional. They have tracks in like New Hampshire, but it's not something that we grow up with in the Northeast. My pops is kind of big into cars and knows. That's what I like or learn more from auto racing. I don't have very much vocational skill. What oil and so watching like how they fix the cars, how they turn the cars, why they need to change their wheels. That's all stuff that I find very interesting. Just as somebody that, I'm just happy my car runs, and so on and forth. Love that there was a tribute to Hank Aaron at the All-Star game tonight. It's a good get, Chris. I was thinking about this from the standpoint of, I was like, what am I trying to say? Everybody goes through their go-through. That's a general statement. There's nothing free in this world, okay? Ain't nothing free in this world. That's Alonzo Harris talking to Detective Hoyt. Shout out to Barry Bonds. Shout out to the Robo, where we'll get that on the screen. Okay? So we're all in our mind thinking of how we can do better. How we can, okay, and this person, and they didn't give me an opportunity, and this, and I'm trying to do this, and we're all trying to do better. And so you get in your mind, oh, this person's against me, and they're trying to, but bottom line is, ain't nothing free in this world. Okay, shout out to Detective Hoyt. Shout out to Alonzo Harris, right, the captain. Shout out to Training Day. Nothing free. So everything is competition, and that's life. Now, there's instances where we do have things that go on that become unethical and illegal, where people do need to look in, because this is, whether it be predatory lending, whatever the case may be, but it's just a dog-eat-dog world out there. What does that have to do with Hank Aaron? I think about the fact that Hank Aaron kept all the hate mail that he received when he was breaking Babe Ruth's record. And that was in the 70s, folks. You had a 70s, 50s, but that was not in the 30s. That was in the 70s that this was going on. We're going to get this for you on the screen. There was a clip. Reggie Jackson recently talked about his experience as a young rookie. All right, so let's get it up for you on the screen. This again in a different time, before the social media and everything like that. Right, it's hard to see the lettering. I'm not going to zoom in, but you get the point. And you can see the things that have been blacked out here. Right? All right, and he went through. He broke the record. 2 white fans somehow got on the field and then congratulated him as he was going over home plate. It's amazing that happened. Unfortunately, they didn't have ill will in their heart to get knocked out. But it's a great picture. The fans celebrating the achievement with him, but it belies the point of what was going on as he was achieving this historic feat in the 70s. Not 30s, not 40s, not 50s, not 60s. The 70s. Okay, and so it speaks to a few things. But to start with, for me, that stuff ages you. We lost Jackie Robinson far too early. Far too early. Because of what he had to go through and the impact that it had on his health. You see how old Jackie Robinson would have been. His wife, okay, so he was born in 1919, so he'd be 106. So not too many people live. His wife is still with us, 102 years old, Rachel Robinson. Jackie's been gone for over 50 years. Okay, that's shameful. When you talk about that stress and 50 years ago, were they talking about mental health? And that's something that we talk about now a good amount. Okay, but to carry all of that, to still be living in a society, again, he died. Jackie passes in the 70s. Hank Aaron is going through many of the same things. Is it more subtle and covert? Yes, but it's the Vietnam War. There's just turmoil that's happening. So in terms of Major League Baseball honoring Hank Aaron at this All-Star game and the next All-Star game and the one after that, and not just Hank Aaron, other players of those generations, Yogi Berra, all, just bring, doesn't have to be from an African-American background, players that went through the game as America was still growing and we continue to grow. That's what that speaks to me, and that's why it's important. Putting things in perspective. Because, you're younger and I'm young-ish, but to Chris's point, I'm a sports nerd, so these are things that I was always interested in learning about, and, I would always study, and that's just me. Yeah, Rachel is, to Chris's point, Rachel's 102. And I saw that, talk about Rossi Greer, celebrating that 93rd birthday. We love him. We love hearing about and learning about the old timers. Shout out to the Coen brothers. Okay, so just it's perspective. When I'm complaining about the man trying to hold me down, think about my grandfather growing up in the rural South, in Georgia, other grandfather growing up in Washington, D.C. during the Jim Crow era. Grandmother on my mom's side emigrating here from the Cape Verde Islands, first generation. On the dad's side, growing up in, rural North Carolina. And I'm worried about what? These things on social media and not getting enough likes. And now I understand every generation has their challenges, but in perspective. Okay? Somebody might not rock with me or agree with, we want who we like to like us, and we want who we don't like to leave us alone, right? That's what we would, and we're stunned when those things don't happen. So what's going on? This is crazy. It's a tragedy. It's a travesty. Okay, no, for me, it's a lot of times it's just day-to-day life. It's just day-to-day life, man. Come on. Pick yourself up, buttercup, and keep on pushing. Okay? One of the things the late, great Bernie Mac said that he got from the adults in his life is keep doing what you're doing. It'll happen by itself. Shout out to the late, great Bernie Mac. Keep doing what you're doing, and it'll happen by itself. Okay, go ahead and get Bernie Mac's. If you're an Audible person, I can't recommend it enough. I listen to it all the time. Okay, maybe you'll never cry again. Read by the author on Audible. Let me just got to talking. It is 8 and change on the left coast. Let my bro know we're going live here. Talking MLB, talking the All-Star game. Thank you, Hank Aaron. Thank you, Jackie Robinson. Joe DiMaggio, not with us. Lou Gehrig, you get my point. Thank you. Oh, 6-6, bottom 9. This game is cooking. I got to figure out. So this game is cooking right now. Let me keep the. I got it up 2 outs. This thing's going to extras. Chris has got it on. I'm watching I'm watching on the ESPN, the Gamecast, but you guys out there, you got it live. Got to figure out how to get Fox Sports, which got to figure out how to get Fox Sports up on the streaming. Got the ESPN, but threw me a loop. We will also on that point, and we'll start with the All-Star game, staying with it as the game wraps up. There has been a shakeup in the sports media world, notable shakeup, as Fox Sports has renovated its entire lineup. Some programs that I rocked with, all 3 actually. I got, they're talking baseball. It's a little bit, I can't. Got to figure out how. I'm going to figure this out next time so I can get when the games are on Fox. But let me get the game cast on. That's how. Let me get the. Hold on. I need the game cast. Thank you. Yes. I know. I don't need the infomercial. Stop it. Just give me the game cast. Chapman's on the hill. Olsen at the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom 9. All right, I'm locked in. I'm seeing what you guys are seeing in real time. In real time. So we'll talk about. I did see Bleacher Report's top 100 Interested full disclosure, I just perused through the top. You know, I saw MJ, LeBron, and Kareem, and I was like, okay, you know, looks good. I'm picking up what you're putting down. We'll segue over to that, but guys, feel free to jump in because I touched on a lot of what we're gonna be diving into. The All-Star game is going on right now, bottom 9. Okay, tied up. Chapman and Donovan battling. He fouls out to the catcher. We're headed to extras, folks. We are headed to extras, which brings me to a point that I've had before we look at the Bleacher Report Top 100. I don't like starting the 10th inning with a runner on second base. I would like to see that in the 11th inning. Play one more inning straight up. Then, if we can't have a champion, a rule, you know, then do the next one with the runner starting on second. So I don't mind it to speed the game up, which baseball has done a kind of nice job of, but put that runner on second base to start the 11th inning rather than the 10th inning, so we can just have, just give us one more inning of baseball. Give us one more inning of just pure baseball. Okay, so let's get the Bleacher Report Top 100. There's a few things. All right, blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Come on, let's just see Bernard King at 97. Bernard King, the king of New York. Go New York, go New York, go. Shout out to CP the franchise. Shout out to Knicks Fan TV. Went too far. Oh my goodness. All right, so let's come back up. All right, they got Jordan at 1. No issues there. Let me just go around on the socials. Facebook is good. Appreciate those that's tuning in on the IG. Appreciate those that's rocking on X. Emmett, I appreciate the repost. All right, I got a repost. You were on yesterday. I did not repost. My bad. Not going to make a habit of that. Okay. You got to support folks. I see Ken Burns. Ken Burns is my main man. He has a Revolutionary War project coming out soon. Okay, so shout out to Ken Burns, one of my heroes. So IG, Twitter, Facebook are all good. All right, let's look at the Bleacher Report Top 100. Have we started the 10th inning? Top 10 is about to start. Love this. Love the All-Star game going to extra innings. Players taking it seriously. Okay, MJ at the top of the list. The kid from Cleveland, 2. No issues. Lou Alcindor, 3. We're on point right now. Magic at 4. Okay. I'm thinking at 4. I'm thinking Bill or Oscar. We'll come back to Magic at 4. All right, Bill's at 5 right there. We need Oscar. Shaq at 6. Shaq at 6. Duncan at 7. See, I'm looking for Oscar Robertson. Bird at 8. You're disrespecting Oscar right now. Wilt at 9. Okay, so I haven't that right. All right. Oscar Robertson needs to be in the top 10. Needs to be in the top 10. Average the triple-double. averaged the triple-double subsequently over his first years. You want to talk about championships? There's only 8 teams, and the Celtics are the preeminent champion. So a lot of championships that Bill of his 11 and 13 years, 3 or 4 of those could have went to Oscar. And another 4 or 5 could have went to Jerry West and Wilt and Elgin Baylor, who got how many? 0. So to exclude Oscar Robertson from the top 10 based on championships is preposterous, folks. Man invented the triple-double. And I ain't talking about 10, 10, and 10. We're talking about 30, 12, and 11. What's going on here? Yeah, he got the one championship in 71 with Lou Alcindor. What was going on in the 60s? He couldn't get no championships. And by that time, he was long in the tooth. So Oscar's in my top 5. If you're going to elevate Kareem, and certainly so, 20 years, 6 championships, the MVPs, the all-time leading scorers, all not, that non-Lakers championship that Kareem got, yeah, Oscar. An older Oscar. Not a 1960s Olympics Oscar, right? The man played his entire prime in the Celtics era. What's he supposed to do? Want to talk about the greatest basketball team of all time? Might not be the Dream Team. Might be the 1960 team. Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Jerry Lucas, others in Rome. So you don't have Oscar Robertson in your top 10 of all time. I got a problem. So who has to go? Does Bird have to go? Does Magic have to go? It's tough. Does Steph Curry have to go? And speaking of which, now that we're on this subject, does Steph Curry belong in the top 10 at all? If we're keeping it a buck. No, he changed the game. No, he's got the suit, and he's got the championships. Certainly had a super team to get the championships. So he's got two of the 4 with KD. 2 of the 4 are on a super duper team. 2 are by himself. All right, he still got 4. 4 is 4, but Magic's got 5. And we didn't get a chance to see Magic get 6, 7, and 8 because he should have kept playing to the mid 90s, and he could have. But we didn't know what we didn't know. We didn't know about age then. Magic was getting buckets, and should have played into the mid 90s and maybe gotten him a 6th championship. I said what I said. Now it would have been challenging because he leaves just as Jordan is coming into, but Magic had gas left in the tank. I know if it's in butts for candy and nuts, but still, he had gas left in the tank. And then also, Larry Bird comes into the league injured. Bob Ryan talks about this. He busted his finger in like a softball accident when he's in Indiana. Never mind the bad back. So we only got a chance to see 10 years of Bird because he had 4 years, of course, going to college, as it was in those days. You're going to tell me prime Steph Curry is better than prime Larry Bird? 1984 Larry Bird, 3 straight MVP Larry Bird, 84 to 86, some of the best basketball that we've ever seen in human civilization? As he knocks out the Lakers in 84, goes 6 or 7 games, loses to the Lakers in 85, and then arguably the greatest basketball team, if not all time, in 1986, and breaks through again and loses to the Lakers in the finals in 87? 1980 to 1987 Larry Bird? What? How many? He goes to 5 finals in 7 years. He missed it in 80. He goes in 81. Misses it in 82, misses it in 83. Then he goes 4 straight years to 87. 5 finals in his first 7 years in the association. 7, 8 years in the association, whatever the case may be. And he's only missing finals because Dr. J takes 2. Dr. J took 3 finals from him, 80, 82, and 83, before Moses came through with 4. No, all due respect, I can't put Steph above Magic and Larry. Pound for pound. In their prime, pound for pound, would you rather have Steph Curry? Would you rather have MVP level Steph Curry or 1984 Larry Bird? Give me 84 Larry Bird. And I got to say the same thing when it comes to Magic. Would I rather have prime Chef or prime Irvin? Prime Irvin. Now, a little bit different, because Steph is raining down threes. The three wasn't really as big a thing. But Steph ain't giving me 10, 15 assists, along with 23 points and 11 rebounds. Speaking of triple doubles. So you touched the nerve disrespecting the Big O. Home run swing off. Chris is delivering facts that I don't know if I agree with the home run swing off. And thank you for the education relative to baseball. What's wrong with extra innings? I mean, I know it's an all-star game. But still, I wouldn't mind watching more of an all-star game. A home run swing off is kind of cool, though. I.e. sudden death, or penalties. I can dig it. I can't dig this top 10. I don't know who's got to go. Question mark around Chef Curry in the top 10. Question mark. Less so for Wilt. Less so for Larry. Tim Duncan. Big fundamentals. He's got 5 rings. Shaquille, 4 rings. So I guess it's the Tim Duncan has a compelling case. But if Duncan stays, Shaq might have to go, or vice versa. So who has to go, Duncan or Shaq? That would be because both of them aren't staying in my top 10. So one of them is going to have to leave. So that's going to be razor thin between Duncan and Shaq. Duncan with more championships, Shaq with better individual numbers. Kobe, the Mamba. See, now we're getting crazy. No, Akeem is not above Oscar Robertson. Durant is not above Oscar Robertson. Thank you. Okay, now Oscar and Jerry. Kevin Garnett. Okay, now we're Kevin Garnett top 20. All right, Joker top 20. Dirk top 20. David Ryan. Okay, so I got a question, the Dirks, Joker, Garnett, KD. Like, that's what it comes down to for me. I have to really look at the old timers, the early greats, and then the more recent stars. So Joker, Durant, Garnett, Duncan, Shaq, right? Those 5 and how they stack up versus Oscar, Wilt, right? You know, no, Steph Curry's not ahead of Kobe. No, no. Wilt is interesting. Wilt is interesting because he has the 2 rings. One he got in his prime with the Sixers, with the 76ers in 67. The second one he got in his twilight years, 72, with the Lakers, 69 win Lakers, and after the Celtics dynasty had finally fallen. The Lakers, for all this being the city of angels, could not get out of their own way. Right? The Lakers could not get out of their own way and win championships. They lose in 69 with Jerry, with the super team, essentially. They had Wilt, they had Jerry West, they had, Elgin was still on that team. So they lost in 69 on a super team. Yeah, we got to check Moses' stats. Thank you. The late, great Moses Malone. Yeah, we'll get Moses up on the screen. We're going to get 444 up on the screen. All right? Got to do it. Okay? But back to Wilt Chamberlain and why he's tough to... Because the winning, right, the same way that people prioritize Jordan over LeBron because of the 6 championships and the undefeated record in the championship round, where LeBron had some mulligans, discounting 2007. Right? 2011 against Dallas is on LeBron. You might even say 2014 against Dallas, where they got waxed and lost in 5 games, as I recall. We can put that on LeBron. And then 09 and 10, not even making it to the finals, LeBron. So there's 4 years when we talk about LeBron and Michael Jordan. 4. Where eggs were laid. The same way Charles Barkley couldn't get a championship in 94, 95. Hakeem took those 2 Jordan retirement championships. So Charles Barkley didn't get one, and the Rockets beat them both years, even though the Suns were up 2-0 one year and 3-1 the next year. The Rockets beat them both years. Those were Charles championships. And you could also throw Gary Payton and Sean Kemp and the Seattle Supersonics, who had the best record in the Western Conference at least one of those years. But Hakeem got both of those. And by the time the Supersonics were ready, who had come back from retirement? With 72 and 10, anything but without that ring. So there's no championships to be had for you, Mr. Gary Payton or Sean Kemp. So for LeBron, in the same way, 09, no excuses for them losing to the Orlando Magic. None. Zip. 0 in the KG injury year. And no excuse for laying an egg in Game 5 in Cleveland in 2010. No excuse. And losing to the Celtics in 6 games before taking your talents elsewhere, where that Cleveland Cavaliers team was loaded. Loaded. Might not have been LeBron's buddies. Antoine Jameson could play. Mo Williams could play. Ilgauskas, serviceable center, and they had Shaq to back him up. Okay? Who was it at the 2? The team was just good. You don't have the best record in the conference. 2 straight years, if I'm not mistaken. No, certainly in 10, because they had the home court advantage against the Celtics. And not be a championship grade team. They didn't make one of those finals. All right, so again, with Wilt, he breaks through and gets the 1 championship in 67 during the heyday of the Celtics. Okay, so but and they should have got it in 69, frankly. Go back and watch. They should have won as Bill Russell is riding off into the sunset. They should have won that game, and Wilt didn't go in the game in game 7. Okay? He had, right? Whereas Bill Russell would throw it before the game. Okay? Right? Bill Russell was just fanatical about winning. It just got to a point with Wilt and the pressure that at times he shut down. He shut down. There's a certain place. And again, this is for people in the arena, not people like myself, the critics who are outside. This is for people that are in the arena, where you have to just break through a ceiling that you don't feel that you can break through, but you got to do it. For all of us, and particularly people that become champions. And Wilt, throughout his career, didn't do that. So he loses at 69 to the Celtics. They should have got a championship in 70. My New York Knicks broke through, 71. Who comes through and steals another one? The Bucks. And then finally 72, but by this time Wilt it's not prime Wilt. So he's got the statistics, he got the numerical stats, but he does not have the winning. So that's why I can see them putting Shaquille O'Neal with his 4 championships ahead of Wilt. Because there was winning. He needed the Zen Master, but Wilt had good coaches also. All right, I don't have a problem with Wilt at 9. I would actually push Wilt back further. All right, and I can see why Tim Duncan is ahead of Wilt, though he shouldn't be ahead of Oscar Robertson, because of the 5 championships. Wilt averaged 30 for his career. Shaq averaged 23. That's because of his... I would like to see Shaq's numbers after he left Miami. Shaq's numbers were hurt because of a lot of... He stayed on. He kept playing at the end of his career rather than going out at a high note, on a high. Kobe, 25. Durant, 27 for his career. Okay. Easy money sniper. You look at Oscar's career numbers, essentially 26. Jerry West, 27 for his career. Over 13 seasons. That's wild. Garnett's a little bit high on this. Joker's a bit high. Dirk is way too high. Dirk, pound for pound, not better than the Admiral. No. Dr. J, okay. There we go with Moses. So Moses is too far down the line here. You got Moses at 21. Moses is better than Garnett. That was a harsh way of saying it. So let me correct myself. Let me correct myself. Okay. I got to put Moses ahead of all the New Jacks. The KDs, the Jokic's, the Durants. I got to put Moses ahead of the New Jacks. I do. So Moses, I have him just outside of the top 10. Good question, Chris. If not in the top 10. And I might have to put Moses. That's close. Moses and Dr. J. Carl, okay. Wade, all right. Giannis, too high. Charles. Excuse me. Okay. Giannis still building his legacy. D. Wade. $13 All-Stars. No MVPs for D. Wade. All right, Carl got 2. Third all-time leading scorer, 25 and 10 for his career. Just talked about Moses. Talking about the doctor. Might need to have Moses above David Robinson. He's above Dirk. He's ahead of Dirk. He's ahead of Joker. He's ahead of Garnett. All right, now Jerry West. Now we're talking. Know how I feel about Oscar. All right, Durant's career numbers are bananas, averaging 27. No MVP awards for Durant. 15-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, 4-time scoring champion. Okay, that speaks for itself. No MVPs, though. Let's check in on the All-Star game. Nationals win it. Kyle Schwarber's 3 dingers in the swing off. And on second thought, I kind of do like the swing off versus extra innings. You can see extra innings any game of the year. So I'm going to come back off my take. I'm going to come back off my take. I see we got some Summer League action going on. Let's see if I can effort and get the Summer League going on. So baseball, you have my approval for the swing off. Not that you needed it or it matters. And let's go over to the ABS system. Automatic ball strike challenge. You know what time it is, ESPN Plus. Let's do the Summer League thing now. Yes, sir. Okay. Gonna stop sharing that. I appreciate everybody on the IG. Hope everybody's having a good day. It is late here on the East Coast. Got a lot of working class heroes. Got to get up and go to work tomorrow. Respect and appreciation to you. Okay, I'm in the summertime, but at the same time, we gotta, tip our hats to those that are making things run, making things tick, making things work. So for all the working class heroes out there, salute. Major League Baseball. A great All-Star game just concluded. I need to revise a previous take. I am overjoyed with the ABS system, the automated ball strike challenge system. Piloted during spring training, brought into the major league to the game tonight. I didn't see it verbatim, but I already know it had a positive impact. So let's Bring the applause in, folks. Bring the applause in for the ABS system, the automated ball strike system that Major League Baseball had going on tonight in the All-Star game. Bring in the applause. Okay? It will add surplus value, added value to the game of baseball. We need it year-round starting next April. That's what we need. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Might have happened earlier. Who knows? Whatever the case may be, it's here now. It's wonderful. So many times, as a fan, just watching, I've noted on Twitter, now called X, Twitter, the ump auditor, where they show you balls and strikes, makes, and again, you're going to miss calls here and there. I'm a referee. I know what it is. But to miss a third strike or to miss a fourth ball, right? You only get to 27 outs. And you took one now. I only get to 27. You stole one with a bad call. This system can alleviate that. However it happens, frankly, it should just be like whatever it is. I don't think you need to replay the pitch. If I challenge and it's a ball, then I'm just walking. It's over. But it's awesome, just like in tennis, that we're getting it right. And you only have a certain amount of challenges. It's not ad infinitum. You keep getting them right, you keep challenging. And if the ump keeps getting them wrong, then it's time to go. Had a very good conversation with a fellow community member tonight about the best and brightest, the young folks that's coming up through the ranks and are working hard and having success and very promising. All right. Again, as I get older, I need to reach back into my college years and harness some of that fire that still burns. What we need to do as we age is still there. The glory years are still there. Further in the rear view, though they may be, we can reach back and still harness that fire, those goals. Can get rid of some of our disillusionment. Restore some of those hopes and dreams. Nothing wrong with having hopes and dreams. We learned that in Cheers. Having a dream isn't stupid, Norm. It's not having a dream that's stupid. Shout out to Cheers. Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? I have trouble carrying that note. Wouldn't you like to get away? Muscle maintenance. But always on. Sometimes you wanna go. You can get that. Sometimes you wanna go. Right? That's easier to get. Okay? Back on topic. Never mind the dreams of our formative years. Remembering them. Okay? And that lighting the path for us as we go forward into middle age and beyond. Okay, but shout out to the young Thundercats that's coming up through the ranks. Okay, it's good to see. It does your heart well to see them coming up through the ranks. Yeah, R.I.P. Norm. Having a dream isn't stupid. It's not having a dream. Right? So I said we was at the community cookout and we were talking, about these young folks that's coming up and have the light and the fire, kind of so on and forth. Back to baseball. Automated ball strike challenge. Okay? And I forgot necessarily. Sometimes I need to write these things down so I can make it all the way back. But that's so important that they're getting it right. And these are type of things that people will watch for longer. You don't want to sit down and watch a baseball game because the pitcher, he scratches his head, he rubs his elbow, he rubs his shin, he looks left, he looks right, he steps off the plate. I mean, go pitch throw the ball. There's no action. Okay? We sit down and watch football all day Sunday. You got to leave time for, All right, make it out to a service. It shouldn't be, you know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? Person of faith, person. I mean, it shouldn't be all day for anything. Doesn't matter. That's all I'm saying. So take some, breathe. But those football slots packed in. Monday night packed. Thursday night packed. Now football trying to invade, trying to elbow out. Speaking of competition, folks, it ain't nothing free in this world. N.B.A. said we got Christmas. NFL Roger Goodell said we coming for them corners. Roger Goodell said we coming for them Christmas corners. And what? Adam Silver had something built up. He was feeling good. For the non-fanatical basketball fans, not the people that I know, not my fantasy league. We're already starting our, even though baseball is going on, I took some tough losses, but we already planning for basketball, even though we got football before. But for the casual fan, okay, we'll start with Christmas Day and all the games, and you're there. And for a time, people didn't want to play on Christmas. Then you finally understood the opportunity that existed there, and it's grown. Next thing you know, Roger Goodell coming in saying, okay, y'all got something that's built up. Let me get some of that Christmas viewership. Okay, but Christmas is on a Tuesday. That's okay. All right, we'll make time. Right? But I thought you played on Sundays, Mondays. No. This is a schedule revision coming from your commissioner. Go ahead and take it. Throw in 2 or 3 football games on Christmas too to get some of those ratings. Okay, and people watch it. And, it takes away from the bottom line is people. So, again, back to baseball, the automated ball strike. This is something that is interesting that people aren't going to tune out. People will say, that looked outside. What are you doing? Coach, challenge it. What's going on? Coach, of course. This is, and then you're waiting to see. We see it on the, we see because you can see it in real time. It's outside. Good. And we keep playing ball. Those type of extensions in your viewership are a net positive because your engagement doesn't wane. All right, as baseball is sensitive to, right? And I think not just baseball. Every single platform is sensitive to attention spans and viewership. We will be talking about what's been going on at Fox Sports, which came as a bit of a shocker to me. Being a fan of sports media, having respect for those that have built up their own brands, have platforms. Here today, gone tomorrow. So we'll talk about the Shakeup, the Carton Show, the facility led by Emmanuel Acho, and formerly Speak for Yourself, led by Joy Taylor, all out just like that. And then there's rumblings about some heavy hitters, i.e. Tony Reali, who's Around the Horn was awesome for many years. It should still be on the air. Max Kellerman, who invented Around the Horn before doing First Take and a lot of other things. Those are 2 heavyweights. Not as familiar with Kay Adams, but there's talk about Reali and Kellerman coming up. Christmas games are whack. Is that the N.B.A. games that you're referring to? Those look like some good NFL matchups. NFL schedule's out, so I believe, Chiefs versus Raiders. People want to see Patty Mahomes. The Raiders are an upstart team. Chiefs should give them the business. But with Pete Carroll there, getting his system in line. And Texans and Ravens, that has my attention. I'm looking to see the bounce back from C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, both on my fantasy team, along with Stephon Diggs, who doesn't know who he is or what he's doing. All right, so Texans, Ravens, that has my interest. Will the Texans continue, because this was supposed to be the year. They started off super hot, as I know, because, right, the receivers were on my fantasy team. And then Diggs' injury kind of took some of that away. So, and it did make sense to me that Diggs would leave, because Texans are on the come up, whereas the Patriots are rebuilding. But Levy did. And so for the Texans, I want them to maintain the momentum. They're in the AFC South, which is a very winnable division. And I want, CJ to have the weapons, so he can get out there and sling it and continue his campaign. Speaking of what you know versus who you know, we're talking a lot about the Texans and CJ Stroud. Whatever happened to Bryce Young? Now the talk about Bryce Young is he's too short and all the rest. Okay, he's been the same height when he was at Alabama in the draft process. He's always been his height. And he was the unanimous number 1 pick or overwhelming number 1 pick. It's not what you know, it's who you know. It's not what you have, it's where you go. So he goes to an organization with absolute instability and volatility, and you're not hearing his name. Last year's games. Ooh. Okay. Lions and the Vikings, you have my attention. Cowboys and the Commanders in Washington. I'm picking up what you're putting down. In terms of the Lions, I'm still upset about how that went down. I'm still hurting, angry for the people of Detroit, and that had something to be proud of and to hope. Okay. How are they going to do losing their offensive coordinator? Big question mark for me, who's now running the show in Chicago, which has their optimism trending upwards. And the Cowboys and the Commanders, the Commanders, Dan Quinn, formerly a Cowboys coach. They could have made him the head coach. They decided not to. He came to Washington and got his thing going immediately. He got that shit moving in the right direction. Talking again about not what you know, who you know, what your situation is. So Jaden Daniels goes to a situation with Dan Quinn and stability. He's out of this world. Bryce Young goes to a situation with David Tepper and a revolving door head coach. Who knows? Okay, a lot of teams almost beat Kansas City last year in terms of their efficiency in those close games. But I do credit Bryce, to Chris's point, with being in that game in a team that was a backwater, an afterthought, a quote-unquote scheduling loss because they're not taken seriously. The question is, will he get back in the conversation where he's in the same breath, same sentence, same paragraph, same article as CJ Stroud? Or is there so much dysfunction that he's going to have to go somewhere else and get a fresh start, i.e. Baker Mayfield, before he can shine as he's able to do? But back to CJ Stroud, I'm pulling for the Texans, like the coach, just the energy that they have. Maybe it's a less is more thing. Stephon Diggs, he continues to be a diva, which I did not, I was happy for Diggs when he got up and out of Buffalo. Excuse me, not happy for when he got up out of Buffalo. When he, got out of Minnesota, even though that was a good situation, he was complaining about Thielen. And, he was complaining. So he goes to Buffalo where he could showcase, and that he did. And him and Josh Allen balled. But then, now you're going to, you got to be careful what you wish for, right? Because you might get it. He got what he wished for, and it was all trending in the right direction. And now he wants to go ahead and look at people cross, put his nose up in the air. Reminds me of Rajon Rondo when he's here with the Celtics. In 2008, were the two question marks on that team in 2008 were a young Kendrick Perkins and a young Rajon Rondo. But the big three, particularly Ray Allen, one about mentoring and building up Rondo and Perkins so that they could do what they needed to do for the Celtics to win a championship. Next thing you know, now Rondo has a little bit of success, and he's going to look sideways at Ray Allen and the veterans on the team. He's going to have an attitude. You catch an attitude with people that built you up to be where you are? Rondo wasn't the straw that stirred no drink in 2008. He was the young bull that was encouraged. Bottom line, they could have factored out Rondo to bring in another young bull and encourage him to do that same role. I said what I said. Rondo wasn't no decisive part of the 08 team. He was a young bull that was encouraged and played above his skis. He played above his level because he had 3 Hall of Famers encouraging him. And next thing you know, he's going to be in his feelings talking about, we're going to do things my way. And you need to talk to me a certain type of a way. Instead of giving the OGs their just due. And waiting your turn. Back to Jrue Holiday and why, even though the Celtics right now, they you know what I mean? But that's the value of a Jrue Holiday who's a champion and a Hall of Famer. We didn't get not one whiff. And by the way, he was so humble, people mistook his kindness for weakness. Talking about Drew's old. You're going to learn. You're going to learn. People don't know sometimes you about something, you about that life because you carry yourself with dignity in a certain way. Receipts have been kept. Kept the receipts for my man Tibbs. I done kept the Jrue Holiday receipts. All of them. As far as I'm concerned, people were talking crazy about Jrue and what he brought to the table and what he's going to bring to the table. But Rajon Rondo, and I respect what he's doing now, okay? Coaching, has the young guys coming up through the ranks, so on and forth. But he was a journeyman throughout his career because once he found success, he was not approachable. He was standoffish. The talent was always there, but he did not carry it with class at all times. Okay? 08, that was lightning in a bottle. Okay. Sometimes let's get back to football. Yeah, we're talking about coaching and leadership and growing where you're planted. Okay, and the Commanders, now, is Jaden Daniels a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts? All these rankings, and he's on the come up. But you don't know till you know, right? Don't grow till you grow. You see where I'm going with this. Meaning, no, I can't put Jaden Daniels above these veteran quarterbacks with championships and that have done things over years. It looks promising, but looks can be deceiving. Am I pulling for Jaden Daniels? Do I think it's a great storyline? Do I remember talking with fellow teachers and how promising he is? And I was a Drake May guy, and I think that Drake's going to ball. But talking with teachers, there's like, listen, he is, they were saying of this top 3, Jaden Daniels, and he by far balled out the best of the rooks. So I'm pulling for him. Talk about Dallas, new coach, knows his business, so they'll continue to be in the conversation. Don't have as much confidence in the Cowboys, again, because of the instability in management. I see your point on Kyler. Yeah. Rondo, talent-wise, was Hall of Fame grade, NBA champion grade, Olympian grade. But chemistry, continuity, team-wise, absolutely not. He's on the other end of the spectrum. Okay? He's the anti-Holiday, the opposite of Holiday. Appreciate you, Benito. Maller Militia, thank you. Want to check in? Yes. So those things that Jrue Holiday does and continues to do that build champions, that build Olympic gold medals, okay, that build winners and winning, as well as being, Jrue Holiday, guys, don't get it twisted. He's UCLA. McDonald's All-American, 5-star. Don't get it twisted about Jrue. People, and he ain't no spring chicken. He's a big dude, meaning he's a bigger guard. He's a bodyguard. I only bring that up because he can score in a lot of different ways that guards don't get credit for scoring. He can go in the post, get them paint points. Obviously, he can shoot the three. He can get the mid-range. He's going to make those passes. He does a lot of things. Rondo, same thing. Talk about it, just his reach, defensively, getting a lot of steals, a bigger guard that can go and, he could do a lot of things. But it had to be his way. Had to be his way, all the time. Okay? Rondo took the route, and a lot of, you know what I mean? If you're certain players, it can be your way all the way. I'm talking about the LeBron James of the world. For the smaller guys, you look at Allen Iverson and how he got down and how Philly built the team around him, and the owner, Pat Croce, allowed AI, just AI, you can be yourself and do, and frankly, a lot of things you shouldn't have been doing. When you're banned from every single casino in the state of New Jersey, when you're banned from every single casino in the state of Michigan, it's not all the casinos' fault. If every single one of them says you got to go and casinos only exist to take your money, but every single casino says we want no more of your money. None. We don't want any more. You got to go. When it gets to that point, it's time. Time to take a step back. Time to downshift and get up out of that fast lane. It's time. It's time. I imagine, I don't know, I'm not living the jet set life, but I imagine when you're in the fast lane, you do feel a sort of invincibility. Mistakes don't seem to be mistakes. There's always more money. There's always more people that want to be around you. You make 7 days, straight days of mistakes and 7 more days of just great things that people want to do with, have a good time and take pictures and all the rest of that stuff. But when a casino, every casino in 2 states says enough, it is probably enough. Yeah, that's what I say. Okay, so back to Allen Iverson and having everything his way. First of all, he had Allen Iverson talent, which is neon, which is different. Yeah, Allen Iverson talent is different than Rondo talent, different than Jrue Holiday. It's just different in and of itself. Being 6 foot flat, 160 pounds flat, and to do what he did. And never mind, that was the whole ISO volume shooting era where just the theory of the game was different. Not pace, space, openness, extra passing, analytics, so on and forth. But back to Rondo, that's how he was rolling. Well, again, you're not AI. You're not LeBron. You're not Kobe in 05 when Shaq left. And Kobe was going to have his selfish year. Everything through me. The rest of you guys just rebound and get Tommy points. That's all you're doing all year. Maybe a paint point if I decide, but I want to get as many buckets as possible because I'm going to beat Allen Iverson in this scoring race, which was really what they were both after that entire year. Forget about the Sixers, forget about the Lakers. It was about the scoring race. And we had a 35-point-a-game scorer, champion Kobe Bryant, and a 33-point-a-game scorer in Allen Iverson in 05. Yeah, both of them. Okay, forget the wins and losses. Every game, I got to get buckets. That's the type of Rondo wanted carte blanche. I got to use another example. And so I'm happy for what he's doing now. I'm happy he got his championship in the bubble, but there was bridges that were burned that didn't need to be burned. They were burned, and there was no need for them to be burned. Said what I said. You could have come up under that leadership. You could have been a good grasshopper. Okay? Sometimes you got to be the sensei. Sometimes you got to be the grasshopper. Shout out to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, my man Lee Mubai. Every great master was once a student. Rondo didn't want to be the grasshopper he needed to be. Okay? Similar to player that, right? Monta Ellis was on those Warrior teams. Okay, the 07 team that was running wild with the crazy starting lineup with Baron Davis, Jason Richardson, Steven Jackson, Al Horford, and Beatrice at the center, just running and gunning. Then they would put Harrington at the 5. Monta Ellis would come in the game, and they'd just be just running, gunning, and bulldozing. Okay, that was, we talk about Joe Mazzulla. I like Joe, but he ain't no Thibodeau. And there's no shame in not being Thibodeau. Everybody can't have 30 years in the game. You know, everybody can't be a Carlito Brigante. I was watching Carlito's Way with my good buddy Endicott. Solid indie classic. Such a good film. Sean Penn, Al Pacino, that Carlito's Way. I read the books. That was when I used to read. My college years. Carlito's Way and After Hours by Edwin Torres. Right? Those are the tried and true ones. Monta Ellis was the young guy when the Warriors emerged as a team in 07 before taking over the N.B.A, when they were just emerging from the backwaters where they had been for decades. Before Joe Shakeup took over the team, and the first thing that he did was bring in one Mr. Jerry West as a special consultant. The rest is history. Talk about good money after bad versus wise investments. First thing he did, bring in Jerry West as a special consultant to build this thing up. Arguably the greatest executive of all time. That Golden State Warriors team that Jerry West was building up, Monta Ellis had the opinion, me and Steph Curry can't play together. I can't play with this guy. That was his attitude. People might forget it, but that was the way it was. Who is this guy coming on my team? Yeah, I know, Jerry West, you making your decisions up in the front office, but this group is my team, right? That whole idea of before the analytics revolution and the vetting of players, we thought we were just going to let players figure it out on their own. How did that work with the Malice in the Palace? Jamal Tinsley, solid New York City guard, shoulder shaking and dipping and doing, okay? Hasn't been seen in the N.B.A since he left the Pacers because of the reputation he acquired while he was in Indiana, where they were trying to give him an opportunity. But it had to be my way. This is my team. Y'all living in my city. That was the mentality in those times. Jerry West came in and said, I see what you're saying, Monta. I'm going to go with Steph and this young guy we got from Washington State, Klay Thompson. We're going to put a different energy in this building. Okay? Okay, not me and mine's, but yours and ours. We bring in a different energy into the building. You want that? It's got to be my way or the highway mode and way of doing things. Okay. Somewhere else. As far as Golden State, we doing something new. And the rest is history. The rest is history. I see your question about Charles Bassey. Leon Poe, he's in the city. Good get. He works with Posey. Posey came through on that 1-year contract, right? On that 1-year contract, come through to get a championship. You know, we need guys to fill out the bench that want to go chip chasing, and he came through and he got it done. So Leon Poe, again, he's in the city. He does community work, like the Boys and Girls Club and different. He works for the Celtics in a community engagement capacity. Okay, so he's still around doing his thing. But over, like we were talking, and a number of things, but N.B.A. Christmas Day extravaganza, so on and forth. NFL's got some heavy hitter games to also tune into. Lions and Vikings, NFC North loaded. 3 playoff teams in one division. Crazy. And then Cowboys and Commanders, formerly the NFC least. Now division is a beast with the Cowboys, Commanders, and Eagles. So those are 2 games that I'm looking forward to tuning into. Charles Bassey, does he make the team? Gotta learn more about Mr. Bassey. I got some summer league on right now. Nolans and Portland. Okay. See if Derek Queen's out there. He is 22. I'm big on Derek Queen. They gave away too much to get him, but I'm high on the young bull. Bright future that he has. Honestly, Charles Bassey, I don't know enough about him to give an informed take in terms of whether he's going to make the team. I'm going to say yes, just based on the fact that, Brad Stevens, a lot of these guys are on 2-way deals. They play for the Maine Red Claws. Stevens does a nice job with the G League team in terms of monitoring and bringing the guys up and having them work on ABC, XYZ, to get up to the big leagues. So I'd say 2-way deal, G League. It's my first get with Mr. Bassing. But as I continue, some summer league goes on. Pete's Jam actually also started today, the Nike Championships in the world of basketball. Summer league leader in rebounds, respect. I just think it's going to be tough to make the roster. The indications are that Dame is going to touch down, right? So if that happens, Simons is on the move, or you bring him off the bench. Okay? However you want to organize that. Talk about Marcus Smart maybe coming home. They got a lot of these rooks. Everybody's not going to make the roster as Willis knocks something down, but it's going to be okay. Shouldn't have had that divider out there anyway. Might have to check on Willis for a second. And but I think he's okay. Gonna go for a walk. Go for walks. Dame's out for the year. Older. Had the Achilles at the end of the year. Point taken. You're good on Smart. Again, does he know his role? Is Marcus Smart going to play his position? Is he going to have role acceptance? IG and Facebook are good. Appreciate those on. Appreciate the militia. On Twitter, aka X. Malapalooza is coming up. Very exciting. Willis will be involved in Malapalooza. It was just locked in last night, early morning. Shout out to Big Ben for including Willis, who just knocked over the divider, but he's chilling right now. Post episode, he's going to get a bite to eat, and then we'll go for our, you know what I mean? This summertime, so go for our walks. The flashlight is ready. Get the walk in Gets his steps in. It's a beautiful thing. The weather is nice. It's all good. Got the long line. So we'll incorporate that probably when Big Ben is doing what he's doing. I was fortunate. I'm good on my eats. I told you I went to a community cookout. They fed everybody. The whole community ate. I got me 2 good burgers. Good burgers. I mean, not the, you know what I mean. You know how McDonald's you get the mini. No, these were hearty. This was a number 8 deluxe, if you know what I'm saying. It was 2 hearty burgers I got. Ketchup and mustard, delicious. So generally, your Cape Cod kid, I got to chef it up. You know what I mean? I got to chef my meals up, which is, hey, I do what I do. Shout out to Trader Joe's. You make it easy on your boy. I got a lot of good selections, healthy. I got to drink more water, right? Anybody out there need to drink more water? I got to drink more water. I drink a lot of fruit drinks, People's like, oh, the sugar. And you're right. I get you. You're right. Because the thing is, I'm not moving my body like I once did. And I keep saying that, but it's true. Whereas, man, you used to get home from school and we would just go and hoop. You get home from school like 3 o'clock. We didn't get home till the sun went down. We was just out hooping. You feel me? School, get out. I mean, come home. What's going on? Call up, whatever, where we meeting. We just out there hooping. Like it was nothing. Now, gotta worry about this, worry about that. Shouldn't be worrying it so much anyway. But I'm not moving my body. That's what, my man that I went to school with, he's a trainer. One of my former classmates is a pastor. He's doing really well. He's a family man in Ohio, the Midwest, and another college buddy is a trainer out there in Ohio. I just saw another one of my classmates. She got married. She does physical training as well. It was her husband's birthday. Love to see those shout outs. Really happy for folks that's doing their thing. Chris, man, I got to learn your secret, man. Shout out to Chris. Man, it's crazy. And this should be the time. There's no excuses for me because I'm out here. Never mind the humidity, but, right? The glory days when we would just be out there on the court. I got next. I got winners. I got what, you know what I mean? You ain't want to lose. We leave 9 o'clock, go home, catch a shower, maybe see people out later on, catch them on Main Street quickly, everybody fresh and clean. You know what I mean? Glory days. But that's crazy. Chris, 2 gallons. And I work with some people like this that are just, working in education. I'm kind of a minimalist during the day. I'll nibble on this, nibble on that, get a little bite to eat here and there. Everybody, I see my colleagues, they got the big jug. And they getting that hydration during the day. Like, boy. So I need to do it, but when I sit down, I don't know what I'm talking about me. You guys are out there doing what you're supposed to be doing. I'm talking about the Cape Cod kid right now. I'm talking about me. I need to incorporate movement breaks because when I sit down, I just, I'm like a redwood tree. I just sit and I gotta, because you're doing stuff and I gotta get this done. Somebody, you're doing one thing and 4 people hit you up with the other thing. Oh my goodness, and you start getting frustrated and then I wear down a bit. But I gotta get my movement breaks and I gotta just, all right, I worked to this time. I'm getting up and I'm breaking out. One of the people I follow, we'll get to him on Slice of Life, is Principal Lamb, who has a lot of good stuff as a principal and just about education. There's a lot of, and then like a lot of the teacher pages are hilarious about the profession. Am I the hardest working man out there? No, right? We do get summers off. Right now, it's glorious. During the year, it's a grind. So you pick and choose. This is a time for the rejuvenation and to get the energy back. Once we get into August and September, it's another marathon. It's a beautiful thing. But you put your head down, keep your mouth shut, and it's back to it. And you got to be, 2 different modes. Like right now, as I said, I'm enjoying, but a little bit too much joy. I got to stay on my toes. But to Chris's point, that's one of the things. Whereas I should just be, right now it's a little bit different. But as I'm just doing just go ahead and get a swig. And I have to, and Chris, you can kind of speak to this. See, yeah, a couple of my colleagues got them big joints. You know, and they just kind of go through it. I remember when I was in prep school and I was trying to get on my water grind of just drinking water, being ready for the race, and yada yada yada. And I downed the water, and then we had to be on the road. Then I woke up and I was like, I gotta use the bathroom. I got to use the bathroom. I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Fortunately, I made it. Like, we got to where we stopped. I got out, sprinted over around. You're excreting straight water. I was drinking water, so like when you're drinking and people that drink water, but that's a good sign. That's a good sign. You can see as you are urinating, as they say. We're not going to get too deep into anatomy in this episode, but it should be more clear. It's a sign of your system is washing out all of these things. People that drink water like they're supposed to. Me, I got to do much better. The 68-ounce hydro flask. Yes, sir. Get those and be good. Be good to go. So, right, Dame, let's get back to the Celtics and back to, I'm of the mindset, like these rooks, these young guys, two-way deals. A couple of them maybe might play, especially with the roster shakeup. Cornette out. Looks like Al is out. So there's some opportunities opening up. Then you have the guys from last year that didn't, so they'll be ready to fill some of that time. So the rooks, okay, get to Boston. Obviously, you're working hard and learning every day. But have your bags packed for Maine. That's where you're probably going to be getting your minutes. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's another journey, right? Kind of talk about at the community cookout, we were discussing the promising high school students that go on to college, and you have to start again. You have to start again in college. Players from all over, you have to, and that for a lot of good players, that is disconcerting and insurmountable for those players. But again, when I come back to this and say, look, folks, Sam Presti is a D3 guy. Tom Thibodeau is a D3 guy. Okay? Pop, Air Force guy. Okay? No basketball power. Indeed, they are. Right? So if the front line, you got pieces. I'd like to see Quaida get in the starting lineup, frankly. The point with that is it's disconcerting, but it's a part of the process. These are the high school kids going on, and you got to start over, and you got to have that love, and you got to have that hunger. And by the way, so just like when you're on the freshman team, you're not playing varsity as a freshman, you're playing freshman. JV team, sophomore year, if you're good, you could come up to play varsity. If you're really good, you can start, but probably not. And you got to work your way into, where you're going to be. But you got to remember what it was like being a sophomore starting on varsity. And you thought that it would always be that you would be the guy and you would have all this time and people were going to be talking about you going here and going there. But then, if you have to keep getting better every single year. You can't and that's the thing. When you get a little bit of success, that's when all the distractions come in, and you got to now navigate all the social life, and as well as the main thing, as they say on the Freddie and Harris show, keeping the main thing, or that's the challenge once you have success, and it's coaches that are actually coaching these high school players will make them aware of that. Like, yes, it's good that you're on varsity, it's good that you're shining, and people like you, and you're going through the Friday night lights and all, but you have to stay grounded because you have a long Long way to go in reality. Not just to get caught up in the Friday Night Lights, i.e. Mike Herron. Shout out to Unguarded and Chris Herron and that project. It's out of this world. Got a long way to go. And so the high school kid, call them quote unquote kids, they're students, 18, 19, young adults. This is their next challenge, and you see it's a struggle, and so you try to help them during those challenging times to stick with it. Because what are you going to be doing? You only got class some days for, from 9 to 10:15. You have the rest of the day to yourself. Or you got two classes, 8 to 8:50, 9 to 10:15. Two classes. You're done for the day. Or maybe you have three classes. It's a long day. You got a night class, a 3-hour night class. Okay, so that's a more full day, similar to high school. But the rest of the time, what are you doing? What are you doing? You hitting the books? Okay, like some of the standout students that are going to go on to graduate school and get their PhDs and go on to be leaders in the society. Are you hitting the books like that? Are you working? A lot of students work. You got to work. These bills are insurmountable. We know that. Or are you playing sports? So sports serves to give you a lot of structure. Also, you're in incredible shape, which you take for granted at a young age. Certainly in middle age, we know not to take that for granted. But you're in incredible shape. And you're also learning how to stay in shape for the rest of your life. A buddy of mine who ran and was a very good runner at the Division I level, was an All-American. Now he's in the graphic design and real estate space. But, we're in our 40s now. He still applies the same techniques that he learned in high school and college vis-a-vis running. And that's why he's still in tip-top shape in his 40s, like he was in his 20s. So these things serve you for the rest of your life. Okay? And why am I going down this rabbit hole? Because that's what has to happen with these preps, these rookies coming into the N.B.A. Right? G League on 3. Maine on 3. Yeah, you're staying in a hotel in the middle of nowhere. Get used to it. And you're building yourself up. And you're building yourself up to make the team. I.e. a Fred Van Vliet, who is not on a championship contending team. He's a G League alum. That's right. Butcher, Toronto, G League. Right? That's the foundation. To learn the discipline, the consistency. Yeah. Right? And it's tough. NIL, celebrity, all the rest of that stuff. But that's okay. You're coming into the league. You're not a top 5 pick. Even if you are a top 5 pick. Even if you are a top 3 pick. Shout out to Reed Shepard. G League on 3. All right. And you got to be willing to trust the process, and keep working so that you can eventually, have your time in the sun. Okay. So vis-a-vis the Celtics, there's talent. There's some options. But, it's going to be a long haul. It's going to be a long haul for them. Okay. LeBron update. Talk 4 teams. Cleveland, Dallas, Clippers. I don't know if the Knicks were in that such conversation. Got the British Open coming up, no doubt. Talk some football. Sauce Gardner getting the bag. Jets paying there. Oh, man. Okay. A couple things to get to. Couple things to get to, but we'll talk a little bit of LeBron, conclude the NBA talk, move over to the NFL. All right, Adam Silver talking about expansion. Now's the time to be having those discussions. Wemby cleared for action. LeBron talked a good amount about King James recently. No significant changes there. I don't feel that it's feasible for LeBron James to leave. And let me just reiterate my previous points quickly, and then kind of get into what's happening now, which I essentially amount to a war of words between LeBron James camp and the Lakers, an unnecessary war of words between the two. Okay? So the best place for LeBron James is the Lakers, basketball-wise and business-wise. Playing with Luka Doncic as Robin, and while still being an all-NBA player, but not the epicenter, for the first time in his life. That's what's happening right now with LeBron James and his time on the Lakers. It's a midlife event. I'm not going to call it crisis. It's a midlife event. It happens to different people at different times. LeBron James is obviously one of one. When you are that high up on the Mount Rushmore of basketball for the majority of your life, you have a different experience. But nonetheless, Father Time is undefeated. So to briefly reiterate what I've said before, the best place for LeBron James is the Lakers, business-wise and basketball-wise. LeBron James is not the center of the Lakers or any other organization in the NBA anymore. And that is the bottom line. That's not a hot take. That's not clickbait. That's a fact. Never mind the 41, because he's still playing at a very high level. If he wants to be the epicenter of a team, see what's going on in New Orleans. Have you checked out Utah? Washington has a team younger than a majority of the colleges in the country. Right? Being on a championship team and being the epicenter, the guy that controls the strings, is no longer in the cards for LeBron James. And I'm sympathetic because from a distance, a great distance, as LeBron's talked about, living the life that he's lived and built up and is going to continue to live, and the generational wealth and all those things. And, I'm just a guy. So, yeah. Right? The lifestyles are different. That being said, nonetheless, I empathize in the fact that it's never been, when somebody has never gone down a certain road, obviously that first trip is going to be challenging. And so that's what LeBron is treading on right now, as far as I'm concerned. So I said what I said about options for LeBron and the premium options. Where he is now in his journey. Said that. Now let's talk about all this talk and speculation, which for me is his very skilled camp. You don't own a talent agency and not know how to spin narratives. Okay? Excuse me, and dictate the news cycle. So this talk that's coming out about these prospective teams who would be interested in LeBron James, and it's very engaging and interesting, right? I.e., as I hit this, I can't stand when I do that. Get talking, and then the whole thing could come down. Something falls. Get my shot lined up. I got my main man with me. I got my main man is with me. My grandfather is with me right now. Herbert Carlisle Collier. Shout out to Herbie. Is with me. Got many greats that are with me. Grandfather passed away late last year at the age of 99. Gonna get back to LeBron James, right? Very fortunate. Talk to my grandfather every single day from the time I was like 15 up until when he got sick last year. And just a great guy and gave me a lot of confidence. Right? Herbert Collier, the man, gave me a lot of confidence throughout my life to kind of achieve what I was able to achieve and to kind of keep going forward. So anyway, I hit my stuff fell, saw this. I gotta keep it with me. So with LeBron, I've established the foundation as far as I see it. Okay, and now where we're at in terms of these sensational narratives about mega deals to Cleveland, mega deals to Dallas, mega deals to the Clippers, mega deals to the Knicks. All right, and why I don't see it being feasible. Respect, Chris. Appreciate you. We are who we were. Okay, from a positive lens. That was from Amistad. Very good film. But my grandfather, the greatest generation, meaning served in World War II. We just lost him, I said again last November, so he's 99. We don't have many of that generation left with us, and they're just so valuable to the country. And then grew up during the Great Depression. He was born in 1925 in the Jim Crow South. A family of 10. So, man, I didn't get a number of views on this episode. Wow. Oh, goodness. I sent so-and-so a friend request. They haven't gotten back to me. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if I'm going to make it. Okay, I get it. It's tough. I'm not minimizing anything, but perspective. Perspective-wise, folks, we need perspective. That's what history is about. It hurts, I know, and it's frustrating. I got you, but we can brush a lot of these things off and get back in the arena and keep battling. We can brush a good amount of these things off. Some of the things, we need to get help. Other things, okay, give it a 1-2, give it a, all right, and get back out there and ball out. Let's keep it pushing. Okay, LeBron. Okay, these deals are not happening. I said what I said. The Lakers are not waiving or buying out LeBron James' contract when he's completely healthy and all N.B.A. first team. So we're talking about a trade. And if I'm Rob Pelinka and I saw what Joe Cronin got holding out for Damian Lillard, the bag that he secured, we're not talking about these Luka middle of the night Casino Royale just giving away generational talent. We're not talking about that. We're talking about tried and true Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka saying playing this game at the highest level. So LeBron, you got your people at clutch. You are a made man playing hardball. Okay, and Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka are on the other side of the table playing the same doggone game. All right, so we're talking about going to Cleveland. You're coming off of, if I'm Rob Pelinka, I say I want Evan Mobley. That's who I want. And DeAndre Hunter. Talk to me. And some draft picks. We ain't giving no discounts. You want LeBron James to partner with Spider and Darius Garland, we don't need Garland because we got Luka. Maybe Garland, because Luka and Rondo, Kyrie work, so maybe he can have another. So maybe, but you're coming off of Evan Mobley and Garland. Talk to me now, Cleveland. What you want to do? Okay. We'll give you Jared Allen. I want Jared Allen, and I need Garland too. We ain't doing no talking about. I don't care if it's year 40. I don't care if he's 45. He's LeBron James. So if I'm Cleveland, if I'm Dallas, you talk about, Lively, Clay, and, some of these other guys, and then draft capital for Dallas. That still seems a little bit light to me. Lively, a starting center, but also a backup. So you're giving me, Clay, does he start? Does he come off the bench? So, if it's Dallas and those names I like, they would help the Lakers scheme-wise. But if I'm the Lakers, I need a bag for LeBron. Not a bunch of pieces. I need some name value. Cronin, I'm not coming off of Dame until I see Drew and Capital. So you're giving me an all-star level player and you're filling up my draft cup, i.e. Sam Presti with the Paul George deal that we look differently on today. You're filling the draft cup up. My cup overfloweth. That's what I need. I don't need I need that joint IBC root beer overflowing. Hit the TV. It's okay though. That's what I need. We ain't doing no bar, and especially I know because you already told me that he wants out. So now you think you got the leverage? Hold off on that, man. You ain't got no leverage. You ain't got no leverage. LeBron gonna show up to work. He might have an attitude, but we deal with that all the time in LA. You know how many people, frankly, and this is kind of new to me. This is where I've had to learn and grow as in any type of role that I have where I have a little bit of say so. Because I'm trying to come at it like what's good, like how can we make this thing better for the people, like, to do the job, which maybe that's a little naive. Obviously, everybody's playing the game for themselves, right? Everybody forget the greater good. I got mouths to feed, my boy. So we talk that greater good stuff after my the responsibilities I have are met, not before. Sometimes I get a little bit too focused on, the greater good. And he's like, people got, I can't think about what's going on, across town and around, when I got issues here, immediate, today, right now, I got to get mines, right? So that's a part of it. You come in, you have to realize just the human element. Everybody doesn't, and forget about it in this day and age, whatever you want to say, cost of living, inflation, have these conversations. You know what I'm talking about. So everybody, there ain't no discounts. I need mines. As I heard, they say, I need my Skrilla. That's what I need. Where my Skrilla at? We ain't doing no shorts. I need my Skrilla. Period. So that's A. But then B, what I've kind of, as I gotten older, you know what I mean, is that people just don't like each other. Like on a personal note. I get this way myself. I ain't better than nobody else. But I gotta bring myself out of it. But like, there's some like from the old neighborhood type stuff that people harbor. Now, all the stuff that we harbor is not that deep, honestly. Probably most of it isn't that deep if we're honest about it. Most of it, you could just remove this person from your contacts, stop thinking about them all the time, get into some positive stuff, accomplish some of your life goals, and you wouldn't remember that you even knew these people, right? Again, if you achieve, right? We think about it. If I achieved A, B, and C life goals, would I even think about that person ever again? If I checked this off, that off, and the third and moved on to the next phase, I wouldn't even remember that I knew this person if that was the case. But sometimes life-wise, we project stuff from over here and we put it over there. We project this from over there and we put it over here. That's just human. I get it. My point is, one thing that you come in this work environment, like, and we're all in the same office. We are all polite, but doggone it, you know what I mean? I cannot stand, and it's harbored. Like, I feel it. I bring it into the office. I cannot stand this person. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm like you. It brings attention into what otherwise could be a calmer, because obviously you have work to do. How are you gonna work when you're tense all the time? And I work in education, so however many emails, however many things need to be corrected, however many I got to follow up on this to make sure that this gets right, however many things that you're juggling to keep things moving forward, and you're gonna do all that angry? No, that's wild. Some people, I guess it can, but it's wild. So you got to try to unburden yourself. But what I'm saying back to the Lakers is, right? This looks like where it's going. LeBron says he wants out. He's under contract for the year. He's LeBron James. So if these other teams that already have definitive agendas, Cleveland was right there this year. They're running it back to get over the hump in a what's the word I'm looking for? Hurt is not the word I'm looking for. Hobbled Eastern Conference. Cleveland's looking at a hobbled Eastern Conference, saying we were right there. This is our opportunity. It's now or never to run it back and get it done, i.e. the Suns after they got swept 4 straight by Milwaukee. Dallas, all right, if the Lakers are willing to take this deal on the cheap, because that's, Clay, Lively, Gafford, you're giving me a lot of rotation players. I don't see any all-stars in there. How much draft capital do you have to give me? Like, you're not really impressing me with that. For LeBron James, I want an all-star. He's an all-star. I want an all-star. Or an emerging star. I don't want Clay, nice piece, but he's not moving the needle. Lively, not moving the needle. We already have a center. Like the guy, PJ Washington, he's a nice piece. He's not moving the needle. The Clippers, they don't. You're gonna trade. You're gonna give us Kawhi. Do I want Kawhi? Will he stay healthy? Can I trust him to stay healthy? He's never been healthy. He was healthy this year, and we got the doors blown off us in Game 7 by Denver. Like we weren't even anything to worry about. The Knicks, do I want Karl-Anthony Towns? Does Karl-Anthony Towns want to come across the country after we just did all that to head home to the motherland? Does Karl-Anthony Towns fit with Luka? Is he going to play defense ever? Okay, so this war of words with LeBron and Clutch and the Lakers vis-a-vis Pelinka and Jeannie Buss, it's totally Hollywood. People can't stand each other, but they're all making money. Not that money is everything. They all have opportunities in life to do what they want to do well and to do good, right? Make money and do good in your community. Is the grass greener on the other side? And I don't think it is. And not only is it not greener, I don't see a way for that grass to be acquired, for the bridge to be built, for LeBron to arrive at his next destination and the Lakers to get compensation that they feel good about. Don't see it happening in the 2 or 3 months before the season starts. I don't see it happening at the trade deadline. Unless a team gets, to make this is a monumental, this is a mega deal where there's going to be a transfer of star power from one to the other. And then, the last thing that I mentioned before we move the heck on is, you talk all this talk but logistically, I don't think it works. You want to go from a sunny environment to a cold environment. You want to go from a media center to a distant outpost, or less of a media center. If you're Cleveland, you're in the boondocks. It's your hometown, but you're in the boonies. Dallas, okay, everything's bigger in Texas. Houston's the 4th largest city. You can do some things, but it's not LA. Clippers, all right. All right, so you're a Clipper. And, you're just about the same. Like the Clippers and the Lakers are about identical. Lakers are more talented. The Clippers are more together. So the Lakers, and again, would they, like, how would the, so you give us Kawhi, we give you LeBron. Okay, so we both stay about the same. Have the arguments, fight the fights, Just like what happens in politics after the primary, see how you do, and then, you see how you do after the primary, okay, and then you circle the wagons, right? So all this conjecture, this talk that's going on now with the Lakers and LeBron, blah, 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 it's going to be the same thing when the season starts, and it's going to be the same thing after the season ends. What does LeBron want? Okay, he wants the control. That's something he's going to have to give up vis-a-vis anywhere that has any aspirations. If you want to go to New Orleans, as I said, you want to go be a sideshow, but have all the power, or i.e. Michael Jordan with the Wizards, have at it. That's what you want to do. But every other serious situation, you're coming in for a 1 to 2 year window to win a championship, and then we're both going our separate directions. Brett Favre to the Jets, Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, right? This is a 1 year. Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers. It's a 1 year proposition. So LeBron, no, you don't have carte blanche in terms of telling us what to do. You don't. Okay? So have it out. Have the primary. The war of words. Build up your Q rating. Lead the news cycle. We'll all be tuning in. Plenty of content. Plenty of everything. Did you believe what Jeannie said? Did you believe what so-and-so said? And then once the season starts, circle the wagons and come to an agreement. LeBron, you want to do the the Bronny thing, you can do that. Nobody's stopping you. All right? You want to take time to do Mind the Game, which is on point. I see a lot of those clips. I've been saying I need to do more clips. I've been saying I need to do a lot of things, and they don't get done. That's on me. But you want to do the media mogul thing, nobody's stopping you. Okay? But when you check into work, all right, be a we guy, not a me guy. We're running it's through Luka, right? And you gotta, it's a through line that we have right here. Talked about the high school kids that have to do this when they go to college. Talk about the college kid, the stars of the Mar, that have to do this when they go into the NBA. And LeBron James, in his 40s, in year 22, has to do this. Yes, you too, LeBron James, have to do this. You have to give up some say-so. You have to do this. What did we learn from American Hustler? Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe? What did we learn from that? Let me see if we can get it for you on the screen. Let me see if we can get it for you on the screen. Oh, we got it. No. I don't need to do all this. You're taking me through too much stuff. Just give me the YouTube. See if I can find it. Oh, I found it. All right, let's get it for you on the screen. Shout out to this American Gangster, Denzel Washington film. Rock with Denzel. You know that. Playing Frank Lucas. Pick it up.
It's in there. I'm with it. opium plants aren't hardy enough to outlive any war. They'll still be here long after the troops have gone. What are you going to do for transportation when the last of spring goes on?
Nothing, son. You will see me again.
It's not in my best interest to say this, Frank. Quitting might be ahead. It's not the same as quitting.
Huh? Hold up. We're going to run that back.
When the last of the troops have gone, what are you going to do for transportation when the last of the spring goes on?
Nothing, son. You will see me again.
It's not in my best interest to say this, Frank. Quitting might be ahead. It's not the same as quitting.
Shout out to Denzel and that performance. No way, shape, or form endorsement of the lifestyle as he's playing Frank Lucas in this film. Reputed New York. Again, name of the film is American Gangster. So no way, shape, or form is there any type of endorsement. Let's get that straight. But that line is that line. Quitting while you're ahead is not the same as quitting. It's not the same as quitting. But when you the captain boss, as Denzel was, hard to let go. In any form of authority or power, any type of success that you built up, you don't want to let go. Quitting while you're ahead is not the same as quitting. Right now, LeBron James is ahead of the game with the Lakers in La La Land on a good contending team. Now, strong point that my bro brought up yesterday or Sunday, excuse me. The West is a monster. West is a monster. The East is hobbled. All right. I see what you're saying. I take that point. But no deal is happening this year, as I see it, with a Cleveland or a New York that doesn't involve major pieces. So it's not like we're just going to, if I'm New York or I'm Cleveland, or if I'm the Lakers, excuse me, we're getting a bag. So I don't see those negotiations being like, okay, we'll take DeAndre Hunter and no. Not giving to LeBron James. Like, you're coming off of an all-star. And I don't know if those teams want to do that. Right now, there's talk. I have this talk coming out of LeBron's camp. That's me. Maybe, from the Cleveland angle, maybe there's some things going on behind the scenes. Chris brought up a good point. About LeBron James buying the house in Brentwood, for $100 million. Just bought it, built it. Right? But like Cleveland, if LeBron goes to Cleveland, then, he's coming back. It's going to be, bonkers for that city, depending on how they structure the deal. Keyword, depending on how they structure the deal. But one of their four, at least, if not two, Garland, so Mitchell's not going anywhere. And if I'm Cleveland, I'd say Mobley's not going anywhere. Garland and Allen, DeAndre Hunter, and picks are in the conversation. Okay? So on paper now, you bring LeBron back. Let's say they have to get rid of, let's just say for the sake of argument, they got to get rid of Garland and Allen. So you got Mitchell, you got LeBron, and you got Mobley. DeAndre Hunter can come into the starting lineup. All right. Can you say it's a favorite in the East? Sure. In a wounded East. Fine. No guarantee of anything, but they can get to the top of the East faster than they can get to the top of the West. But again, you have to give up on some of the business stuff, and you have to uproot your family or be away from your family to have that opportunity to win a championship in Cleveland. Do you want to do that? Okay, you want to be in LA where you're comfortable, where you have everything going on like clockwork on a contending team, right? If the Lakers get their act together, they can usurp a San Antonio, who I have storming through the West. And they can bump up against a Denver. They're not together is the reason I don't put them ahead of the Denvers. And as well as just overall talent, but more so that they're not on the same page is why I put the Spurs above the Lakers. But if they got on the same page and let Luka cook and LeBron played Robin and Ayton just worked hard and went home and played video games and came back the next day, and they have Reeves, and they have Kenneth, and they have Vanderbilt, and they have, Gabe Vincent. Like, this team is talented. And you got some you got LeBron who's done it, and Luka who's right there with him. And it's basketball. So at a certain point, at a certain time, it gets to a point of mano a mano. I'm sick of you. I done had enough. This court ain't big enough for us both. So the cream is going to rise to the top, and somebody's got to get these 40 buckets. And that's what Joker said against OKC. Chet, Slim Reaper. Oh, they got Rory too, Hachimura. They're loaded. Right? At a certain point, it just gets to it just a Joker saying, I'm better. You throw I Heart, that's disrespectful. You can get these finger rolls. Chet, you can get this bully ball. Who you gonna throw at me now? Dort, too little. High post. Larry Bird time all day. Who you throwing at me next? At a certain point, it's just gonna you can't stop me. And I can stop you. Right? They go into that point where, and obviously LeBron and Luka are not known for their deep, but they got two guys that if they go, DEFCON 5, if you get Luka, who's going to be in, if you get DEFCON 5 Luka, hide your kids and hide your wife and your cousins and your nephews, hide them all because it's over. Phoenix learned this the hard way. They got the paddle. That's what Phoenix got. I'm not a fraternity guy, but I've heard, they got that paddle and you take these lashes. All right. So they can be in the mix, in the conversation, and you don't change anything. Okay. Versus trying to reinvent the wheel and, hey, be in the snow drifts with the, and go from there. Right? They're good, but they're not the favorites. They're not the favorites. Luka doesn't need to play defense. That's not on his plate. He's to compete on defense. Luka doesn't need to play lockdown defense. He needs to compete. Okay? I expect him to compete. I expect teams to hunt him, and you're going to have to help over for Luka. Okay? But whatever he gives up defensively, he's going to make up plus 7, 8, 9, 10 offensively. Okay? But Luka don't need to, and that's another thing, right? With Jason Kidd, under his capable leadership, that was clearly established. Hopefully JJ understands this, because JJ is light in the behind when it comes to this coaching thing, that he's light in the behind. So he's got some up here. They had a good record. He's got some know-how. I'm not taking that away from him. They finished tied in the regular season in his first year ever coaching, behind coaching youth. So But in terms of culture and chemistry, he better realize he don't have no stern words for Luka. You notice how Jason Kidd, he's all how his tone, how he talks, just level all the time. Well, right? The things that he has to get established, it's going to be quiet. It's going to be one-to-one. I'm not coming into your face, but you know that I'm serious about this. And then it's on you. I ain't gonna force you. I can't force you to do nothing. But don't disrespect my. You know what I'm saying? Don't think I ain't bona fide. Don't think I didn't say what I said. But I'm gonna do it in a way that these younger guys can understand. And they need to feel like they right people need to feel like they have the power. You know? So you make him feel like he's got the power. But Luka don't need to play. He needs to play serviceable defense. And the Lakers, that's Vanderbilt's job. That's Austin Reeves' job. That ain't Luka's job. That's hustle, man. That's your job. You got it? That's hustle man's job. That's not Luka's job. So that's he plays enough defense, but Luka is going to benefit us. We are going to outscore you. We are going to, whatever you do isolating Luka, we're going to do the same thing on the other end. Okay? With a more dangerous offensive weapon. Okay, so let's move over. All right, so Pierce is going to be on Keyshawn's podcast. I got to look that up with this young man, Jason Crow, that I've been hearing about. Okay, thank you for that lead, Chris. I got to look this kid, Jason Crow, up. I don't know. I got to Google him. I'm not going to do it right now because we got about 25 minutes left on this check-in. I need to go because the Pete's Jam is going on, folks. The Jamie Jam is going on. Okay? So this, right? Cooper. You're going to get a chance to know Marcus Spears Jr. Going to get a chance to know Marcus Spears Jr. playing for Drive Nation out of the Southlands with his dad on the bench. Beautiful thing to see. But the jam is going on right now. So this young man, Jason Crow, I got to see, is he a Compton Magic kid, which will put him on the Adidas circuit? Is he a Team Why Not kid that would put him on the Nike circuit? Russell Westbrook has some connections with Team Why Not. Is he on the Oakland Soldiers, okay, of Tynan Stokes fame? Soldiers are a favorite to win it all. Tynan Stokes, the number one rising senior in these United States. Played with AJ DeBanza on the Soldiers last year, so I'm gonna look him up and see what is going on. But I also got to check out Keyshawn Johnson's podcast tomorrow. Didn't know he had a podcast. I am a fan. All right, again, mi casa su casa. So you know what it is in terms of SandCity. You're welcome here. If you depending on right, if I remember when I saw a guy. Okay, resume. All right, so Facebook, sometimes when I put up a clip, Facebook will be like, hey, you ain't had the rights. My bad, Facebook, my bad, but I had to get that. Quitting while you're ahead is not the same as quitting. He's from the Inglewood area. So, again, that to me says Compton Magic or Team Why Not. I'm going to go ahead and look it up. But I need to now speak on what's happening in sports media in terms of the shakeup at Fox Sports, which took me by surprise. I heard it through the grapevine, right? I was surprised. In terms of 3 different shows and a lot of talented people, as far as I'm concerned. Moving on. It's not best picture, but you guys can see. Right? So Joy Taylor, as I said, at Speak, formerly Speak for Yourself, along with Keyshawn Johnson, TJ Houshmandzadeh was on that show, Paul Pierce. I liked it. I thought, all solid. Keyshawn does a really, knows his business, certainly around football. Also can talk basketball. Joy can talk every single sport. Obviously, her brother is an NFL guy, Hall of Fame level player. And had been, Joy, had been at Fox for 10 years, 10 plus years. First became familiar with Joy when she was the moderator on Undisputed, which was lights out with Uncle Shannon and Skip. Okay. He's a big fan of Undisputed. Okay. And they were right up there. You had Skip and Shannon back and forth on one coast, and you had Stephen A and Max on the other coast. That's heavyweights right there. I thought both shows were strong. Okay. And then again, it got to a point and people this and that and the third. It's unfortunate. Bottom line, it's unfortunate. People, we have our dysfunction. Everything, people have dysfunction. But sometimes, work through that dysfunction. You don't have to, just do the show and make your millions and keep it pushing. I mean, from the outside, that's what we think. On the inside, you always think that you can get better. We always think that we can, but sometimes just take a step back. You don't, when we get mad, we step forward. You get older, step back. So I try to say, if somebody is really bothering me, like this person bothers me, they bother me. The young person would step towards them. I get old, and then you got to step back. You got to give yourself distance from this person. Life's a heavyweight fight. Protect yourself at all times. I got to check out Marcellus Wiley's podcast. He does a nice job. And he was on Speak for Yourself when it was Speak for Yourself with Acho. Again, you know what I mean? Professionalism. Chris is talking. You got to maintain professional boundaries. Which is tough, but it's the bottom line. Your friend, you know what I mean? It's very rare that your actual friends are going to be your work friends. And if and when that's the case, it's a double-edged sword, and everybody will tell you that. It's harder when your actual friends are your business partners. Not everybody can be seamless like the Coen brothers and have it work. Not everyone is the Coen brothers and can make masterpieces with your family members. It's not for everybody, or can, right? It's not for anybody either. I work in education. Plenty of teachers are married to other teachers. Great. Wonderful. But, it's not just all sunshine and roses. The challenges that you have in your personal life, are now compounded with the challenges you have in your professional life. But you're happy for people that find those connections. All right, what I'm saying is connections or no connections, stress or no stress, you gotta leave well enough alone sometimes. And if we got a good thing going, and we always think we can just do a little, well, if I added this, it'd be better. You know, if I just added this money we have it good now. But if I just add one more, it's like Jenga. You take the one more thing and the whole thing come crashing down. You got to get to that nowhere. All right, we got a good thing going. It's producing. I'm locked in right here. We ain't going no further. We ain't going no further than this. Yeah, Morning Joe. You know, his host they're married, I believe. Yep. You know, congrats. And so I like Breakfast Ball with Carton. You know, as I watched that, and then you know I rock with all those programs. Shout out to J Mac. Shout out to the Herd. Shout out to Chris Bouchard and Nick Wright and you know, Weld. First things first. They kind of switched it around. So first things first is now later. It used to be earlier. First things first now kicks it over to Speak. I think Speak is the concluding, and first things first comes right after the Herd. Whose intro is awesome and will continue to be awesome. So that just goes to the first thing that I'm reiterating. I'm just going to say one more time is that, you know, you just sometimes that you got to quitting while you're ahead is not the same as quitting, meaning keeping going for more. Once you got something that's good, you know, just fall back and just let it be. This is good. It's sustainable. No, we don't need to change anything further. That's the first thing. Okay. Secondly, shout out to Kelvin and Rob on the Odd Couple. No doubt. Rob's at the All-Star game right now, so I know he's going to have a lot when he gets back. He's in the ATL for the game. Game's over. It's late. I over, under, I don't know what. Rob is not back at his hotel. Rob Parker, it's 1:42 on the East Coast. Game got over about an hour ago. Went to you know, at bats and swinging. I know I am definitive that Rob is not retired for the night as of yet after that All-Star game being in the ATL. He is not. This will be confirmed when he returns to the Odd Couple, possibly by the end of the week. It's only Tuesday, so I imagine he'll be back by Friday. But I'm saying for my money as an Odd Couple fan, the whole 9 yards, that Rob Parker is still moving and grooving at 1:30, 1:43 on the East Coast after said game. That's me. Okay, now back to this shakeup. You know, hey, it's all in the game, so that's what the names that I've heard are exciting. I'm hearing Tony Reale. Around the Horn should still be on the air. It's a travesty that it's not. Enough said there. Reale's the man. I'm hearing Max Kellerman, who created Around the Horn and then went on to create a number of other things and was tremendous. Max is awesome. So look forward to having Max on the air. I say Rob Parker has Golden Girls. He's got Golden Girls DVR'd, but he's still out. He got it DVR'd in his hotel room. Or it's streaming. He's going to come home. He's going to get something to eat. He's not leaving hungry wherever he's at. Possibly and probably Magic City. But he is not back at his hotel. He will watch Golden Girls after he busts down some chicken and fries and some water. He got some water in there for his early morning meal before he catches some Z's. And I would imagine Rob's the type of dude that'll just stay out all night, you know, and just go straight to the airport. I would see Rob Parker just being out until sunrise, going to the hotel, picking up his gear, and just going right to the airport and sleeping on the plane. That's a Rob Parker night as far as I'm concerned. All right, correct me if I'm wrong. That's how I see Rob getting down. But it's interesting. It's interesting. You know he's getting. There ain't no two ways about it, Chris. Anybody that knows, you know he ain't going home hungry. He ain't going home. He's getting that to go. He leaving. I think he's at the city, the magical city. That's where I put him. But whether he's there or whether he's at another location after this wonderful All-Star game during these, summer days where the weather is good, in the ATL, he is out and about, staying safe, okay, but spending time, with the people. Okay. I like the new names coming in, but I'd like to see some of the people stay. I'd like to see people stay. Okay, and maybe in a different role, or maybe they move over to the full-time streaming, right? And it kind of goes and flows from there. All right, but hey, it's all in the game, folks. That's what we learned from The Wire. It's all in the game. Okay, you don't know. All right, let's go over to our slice of life. Let's get slice of life going on, folks. Number of things. We talked about this, so let's start off. We talk about, you got to, as they said years ago, trust the process. You got to trust that process, you know what I mean? And sometimes, hey, it's a long journey, but
do y'all understand that y'all gonna need every bit of each other in order to get something accomplished? Like, in order to win state or whatever, everybody is gonna be needed. So if you thinking, I'm always, it's like, I gotta play, you gotta play, I gotta play, right? We all got plates, right? We all getting food put on our plates, right? But if I'm always looking over there at your plate, and I got food on my plate though. Right. I'm a star. Looking over here at Charles, like, hold on. He got one more scoop than me. He got another. Hold on. He got more size. Hold on. I need more size. No. The name of the game does not work like that. Football, basketball, in life, it's a pecking order. So it's like, it's gonna be top tier. It's gonna be tier one, tier two. You gotta be appreciative that you just getting a plate. Be happy you getting a plate, bro, and you getting some kind of food.
That's a real.
At least you're not starving.
Yes, man. I just want to get us back to when we played ball. We loved each other, and maybe one person on the team had a problem, but for the most part, we all cared about each other and we loved each other, man. Like, that's what we got to get back to. And it's for me, it's two things like taking this whole talk.
Like, damn, do y'all understand that y'all gonna need every bit of each other in order to get something accomplished? Like, in order to win state or whatever, everybody is gonna be needed. So if you thinking, I'm always, it's like, I gotta play, you gotta play, I gotta play, right? We all.
It's facts from Josh Smith, and kind of looking back. He was on the Dream Team, played on the same AAU team, the Atlanta Celtics, with Dwight Howard. Coming out very young into the league, explosive player. So a lot of that is nostalgia and retrospect for him. But facts, just about the mindset. He's giving you the mindset, young players who feel that you're invincible, that you're going to need to maximize. Speaking of the young Lions here, talked about Marcus Spears. This young man is next. Speaking of the preps that's out there, speaking of these preps, dad. His dad is there. First of all, this is the love right here, folks. There's right. It's the jam season right now. It's time for the Pete's Jam. So the stars of tomorrow are carving out their reputation. Down in Augusta, we'll get the results from the 3 circuits. Under Armour and Adidas. We got a young bull that Chris has mentioned that's coming up through the ranks. But you talk about the essence, seeing these examples as it has been in recent years with LeBron, as Bronny and Bryce has gone through it, Carmelo with his son going through it, Gilbert with his son. But it's a beautiful thing, seeing the next young Lions coming up and their parents with them, encouraging them on. And again, Marcus Spears is the football guy. His son playing basketball. I love how he attacks the basket. He puts pressure. He doesn't put the body on him. Don't bail him out. Put your body on him to the basket. Yep. So you're going to be hearing a good amount about young Spears moving forward. Store that name away for later. Store it away for later. Okay, speaking of who's got next and who's coming up through the ranks, let's talk about somebody that we all know, a current unicorn. That's a rising unicorn. But let's talk about.
The answer for me, you find a guy like Wemby. If you can find a guy, oh my goodness, Wemby, I was just standing next to him while we were shooting the shop. This guy, I feel like he's grown another 2 or 3 inches for sure in the offseason. But I mean, the game is going to continue to evolve. You know, like you said, the Big 3 era had its moment. The Big 3 era has always had its moment. You know, way before myself, D-Wade, and Boss came together. You know, you had, Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West and Elgin Baylor, they played together. You know, you had so many guys that's the Big 3 era. So
Bird, Paris, McHale,
exactly. Jordan, Pippen, Rodman. You know, so like, the Big 3 era will always kind of be there, but having depth, having been able to have the ability to bring in multiple guys that can do multiple things. I think that's the era that we may fall into. But whatever era or however the game shakes itself, just know, guys, that we're listening to y'all and we're gonna put the best product on the floor every single night because we hear y'all talking and we know y'all love our game. So I appreciate it. I really thank you for real.
No lies detected. Mind the game. LeBron. Yes, indeed. We got to, on this same line, we got some good stuff. We got some good stuff from, we're talking about Wemby and how the game is going to evolve. We talked about this gentleman tonight, and now we'll talk about his process and the process for greatness.
Confidence came from me shooting basketball by myself for hours upon hours. I mean, it's not, I didn't pick up a ball on a Saturday and decide I was going to score 40 a game. I mean, that preparation came way before that. So I played a lot of basketball in my life and did a lot of shooting from every angle, from every position. Then once I grew, be 6'9", the game became a lot easier. But I put my time in, so I knew I put more time in than anybody else. And I had skills that other people didn't have, so I had a lot of confidence in whatever I did out there on the basketball court. Well, my confidence came from
we're gonna
shooting
watch that
basketball
again
by myself for hours upon hours. I mean, it's not, I didn't pick up a ball on a Saturday and decide I was going to score 40 a game. I mean, that preparation came way before that. So I played a lot of basketball.
Oh, no. We gotta run that back. Run that video back. Thank you. From the top.
For hours upon hours.
Hours upon
I
hours.
didn't pick up a ball on a Saturday and decide I was going to score 40 a game. I mean, that preparation came way before that. So I played a lot of basketball in my life and did a lot of shooting from every angle, from every position. Then once I grew, be 6'9", the game became a lot easier. But I put my time in, so I knew I put more time in than anybody else. And I had skills that other people didn't have, so I had a lot of confidence in whatever I did out there on the basketball court. Well,
had a lot of confidence because of what I did. We need to see that again. Yeah. Let's run back that Larry Legend. I just run back that Larry Legend. Let's go. Go ahead.
My confidence came from me shooting basketball by myself for hours upon hours. I mean, it's not, I didn't pick up a ball on a Saturday and decide I was going to score 40 a game. I mean, that preparation came way before that. So I played a lot of basketball in my life and did a lot of shooting from every angle, from every position. Then once I grew, be 6'9", the game became a lot easier. But I put my time in, so I knew I put more time in than anybody else. And I had skills that other people didn't have, so I had a lot of confidence in whatever I did out there on the basketball court. Confident.
Right? Where's the confidence come from? What is luck? When the preparation meets opportunity. So, hey, should be no surprise. Another story, I'm going to leave the court and just talking about life.
I don't understand why I didn't get famous sooner. I didn't understand why I didn't have money sooner. When I was in that car at the 6-month point, I said, okay, God, I got it. He said, no, a little bit longer. After about a year in that car, I said, okay, I got it now. Whatever you're trying to tell me, I got it. He said, I know, man, let's stay a little bit longer. 2 years in that car, I was done. Hey, man, I got it. I'm listening to you. I'm paying attention to you guys. Hey, dog. You tripping. I said I got it. He said, no, I hear what you said, but I really want you to get it. And at the 3-year mark, when I was said, okay, I'm done. I'm going home. I'm washing up in this bathroom. I'm going to call my dad and just see if I can come stay at the house for 6 months, find a job. I'm through. He said, okay, now you got it. Go make a phone call. I called the answer machine, and Chuck Sutton said, hey, it's Chuck Sutton from Showtime at DePaul. I saw a tape. Can you get to New York? Well, I had $30. I can't get from Pensacola, Florida to New York. And then I hung up and I was crushed because the one thing I want to do is be on TV, and I got $30 and I got to Sunday to get to New York, and it's Wednesday, and there's no way I can get there. There ain't enough gas. He said, pick up the phone again. And I called back, and then Tom Sober said, I had a gig for you in Florida. I went and made $150. I was so funny. The guy said, stay the next night. I made $300. Eastern Airlines had a ticket for $99. I'm in New York on Sunday. I went on Showtime at DePaul that night, and I've been on TV ever since. But I was at the give up moment, and we all have a turn back moment. Oh man, I just needed you to get to this point so you can see that it's really me that's in control of this whole thing. Ain't got nothing to do with you, your time frame, or nothing. This really me, man. Look, I don't understand why I didn't get famous sooner. I didn't understand why I didn't have money sooner. When I was in that car at the 6-month point, I said, okay, God, I got it.
6 months in the car.
A little bit longer. After about a year in that car, I said, okay, I got it now. Whatever you're trying to tell me, I got it. He said, I know, man, let's stay a little bit longer. 2 years in that car, I was done. Hey, man, I got it. I'm listening to you. I'm paying attention to you guys. Hey, dog, You tripping. I said I got it. He said, no, I hear what you said, but I really want you to get it. And at the 3-year mark, when I was said, okay, I'm done. I'm going home. I'm washing up in this bathroom. I'm going to call my dad and just see if I can come stay at the house for 6 months, find a job. I'm through. He said, okay, now you got it. Go make a phone call. I called the answer machine, and Chuck Sutton said, hey, it's Chuck Sutton from Showtime at DePaul. I saw a tape. Can you get to New York? Well, I had $30. I can't get from Pensacola, Florida to New York. And then I hung up and I was crushed because the one thing I want to do is be on TV, and I got $30 and I got till Sunday to get to New York, and it's Wednesday, and there's no way I can get there. There ain't enough gas. He said, pick up the phone again. And I called back, and then Tom Sober said, I had a gig for you in Florida. I went and made $150. I was so funny. The guy said, stay the next night. I made $300. Eastern Airlines had a ticket for $99. I'm in New York on Sunday. I went on Showtime at Apollo that night, and I've been on TV ever since. But I was at the give up moment, and we all have a turn back moment. Oh man, I just needed you to get to this point so you could see that it's really me that's in control of this whole thing. Ain't got nothing to do with you, your time frame, or nothing. This really me, man. Look, I don't understand.
Steve Harvey, I've heard that before. Don't mind hearing it twice. Again, talk about Larry Bird, why he has confidence, shooting hours upon hours by himself, alone. Nobody knows who he is. So that when he finally gets the breakthrough, kidding me? You think you got something for me now? That young lion was ready. That young lion was ready. And the rest is history. Let's bring it back to the preps. Bring it back to the preps. We got one or two more. Bring it back to the preps. This is Mean Streets. This is Nike's flagship program out of the Chi, out of Chicago. Best. Hold on. No. What in the ham? Soccer team. All right, X out. We're going to have to come back. As I said, Mean Streets. Speaking of the hunger, Nike's flagship program out of the Chi.
Founder of Main Streets. Main Streets is located in Chicago, Illinois. We're based out of Chicago. What makes Chicago basketball special is just the toughness aspect of it. They're going to be tough-minded. They don't stop. They always want to compete, and they don't take no for an answer. I think that's the ingredient of Chicago.
Yes, sir.
The Cardinals are the best organization in the world.
New York City Cardinals.
Division I players in the last 11 years, 12 N.B.A. players. If somebody here is BSA Cardinals, hopefully they qualify. I think what makes New York basketball so potent is that you're always going to find kids that's not scared. Whether that's in the concrete, whether that's in the gym, whether that's in the dirt, whatever they're doing, they're going to always play a lot of basketball.
I think together we need to lock in on the defensive end. Play together between trusting the system that we should work on through the season. Every day I'm on the court, I just want to get the best and win every day.
I'm Ty Streets, founder of Main Streets. Main Streets is located in Chicago, Illinois. We're based out of Chicago. What makes Chicago basketball special is just the toughness aspect of it. They're going to be tough-minded. They don't stop. They always want to compete, and they don't take no for an answer. I think that's the ingredient of Chicago.
I think the Cardinals are the best organization in the world. Over 150 Division I players in the last 11 years, 12 N.B.A. players. If somebody here is BSA Cardinals, hopefully they qualify. I think what makes New York basketball so potent is that you're always going to find kids that's not scared. Whether that's in the concrete, whether that's in the gym, whether that's in the dirt, whatever they're doing, they're going to always play a lot of basketball.
I think together we need to lock in on the defensive end. Play together between trusting the system that we should work on through the season. Every day I'm on the court, I just want to get the best and win every day.
I'm top.
No lies detected. Up and comers. And we'll conclude in the Commonwealth. Our governor, our capable governor.
Fans, This is Governor Maureen Healy, Massachusetts, where basketball was invented. Just want to say we want to welcome you all to Boston. We're so psyched to see you tonight, TD Garden, 8 p.m. What's up, Sun fans? This is Governor Maureen Healy, Massachusetts, where basketball was invented. Just want to say we want to welcome you all to Boston. We're so psyched to see you tonight, TD Garden, 8 p.m.
All right, you guys might have missed the game. I bring that up. More is talking about we're talking about bringing a team to Boston. Okay, we'll conclude.
My confidence. Nobody nothing can tell me.
Yeah.
And when you gain that and you just start developing Teflon skin, so no matter what people say about you, it don't even bother, it don't even move you.
Yeah.
That's when you're gonna be able to advance in anything you're trying to do. And that's the message I want to put out. Like people say, oh, you delusional. People are gonna say, oh, you not this, you not that. But look where it got me. Being delusional.
Exactly.
It got me to places I never thought as a kid coming out of Inglewood to be able to travel the world. Like from being delusional. Because I didn't believe what people said. Because I didn't believe like anything you said I couldn't do. You know what I'm saying? I'll never like trust or even indulge myself in negative
self-talk.
Not even outer talk.
Yeah.
Like I laugh at like, oh, Pierce, you're all right, whatever.
Yeah.
99.9% of you cats wish y'all had my life.
True.
and you talking like this. My best strength was my confidence.
Yeah.
Nobody nothing can tell me.
We'll leave it there. Paul, confidence. Larry, confidence. Steve Harvey, that long road. So where SandCity's going to leave it tonight. Just a lot of good, that perspective from our greats. Larry Bird coming from French Lick, Indiana, right? If I can just touch on all three of those guys briefly. Folks remember what Larry Bird did after he left University of Indiana, which is supposed to be, his School of Destiny, playing for Bobby Knight to win a national championship. Okay, but, Larry, had different life experiences and was, you had to approach him a certain way. So is Coach Knight a great coach? And did he have an undefeated team in 76? Yes. And yes, there's no two ways about that. All right. But at the same time, you coach everybody, you treat everybody fair. You don't treat everybody the same. And so Larry needed a different voice and a different energy. So he left Indiana because, that was not what he could receive at that particular point in time. But, it's funny. Remember what he did after he left Indiana as the boy wonder? He was a garbage man. He was a garbage man. And he said where he comes from, saying, well, ain't no word about being a garbage man. You were happy to have a job. You were happy to get up and have a job. So Coach from Indiana State wouldn't take no for an answer. Kept visiting. He said no. Came back, no. He just wouldn't give up on it. This kid has to play college basketball. He goes to Indiana State, and the rest is history. But he was a garbage man. Steve Harvey, I've heard that story, but 3 years he's a comic on the road in his car. It's unreal. And he's, why isn't it work? You start doubting yourself, and he talks about telling those same $25 jokes. I'm telling the same $25 jokes, then at Showtime, and, now those same $25 jokes, he's 6 figures every appearance. Hasn't forgot where he's come from. Paul Pierce, obviously, he had, trying times early on in his N.B.A. journey. And that's interesting because I didn't know really a lot about his background coming from L.A. and being, the negativity. Appreciate you, Chris, and people, always want to tell you what you can't do and what you won't do. And it's a tough world out there. There's no 2 ways about it, but hey, we heard it from a lot of people. That confidence can override that, okay, with your passion project, okay, what's positive and productive and uplifting that you can contribute. You go on, and you see it through to its success. You talk about doing well for yourself. You can pay your bills, okay, or doing good. Doing well for yourself is paying bills, and then doing good is the good work you do in the community. Yes, sir! Thank you so much, folks.